Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing
I'm in my party. The trailers will
with his 7th today. Only at Booster Juice, Canadian born since 1999.
You've got a go-to coffee shop, a trusted one, game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle,
Throw the load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Edmonton's go-to station for all things sports. It's Sports 1440.
From Low Tide to Kevin Carriott and Jason Gregor, we deliver the latest on your favorite teams.
Tune in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week
to Sports 1440.
The Jason Gregor Show.
Now it's Dickinson down the wall. He's a leaky one on Bennington. It's 5-2 Chicago.
On Sports 1440.
Deep pass to Crook.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Finds Mangiapane, the trailer is Lazard. Mangiapane scores. 3-1 Edmonton. Mangiapane with his 7th.
A tremendous Thursday afternoon. We are 23 hours away from NHL trade deadline. Oilers, will they make another significant move? Doesn't sound like it. Maybe a minor move, maybe nothing between now and tomorrow. There are lots of teams, though, that are still looking to wheel and deal. And I think there are going to be some trades coming down. We'll update you on the deals today. We'll get to all of that. It's the Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. It's Thursday, the Daily Grand, your chance to get in where you can win $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. $7.3 million. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. I'm Jason Gregor, alongside Connor Halley. We got lots to get to on the program today. Of course, we're going to hear from Stan Bowman, the GM of the Edmonton Oilers, as he outlined, why he made the deals. So two separate deals. Of course, you knew about the Connor Murphy one. You obviously probably know about the Dickinson and trade that included Andrew Mangiapane going to Chicago. The Blackhawks retaining 50% of Dickinson and getting a first-round pick. And I have to admit, I'm kind of surprised by the amount of people that are upset over that trade. What am I missing? So here's what happened. You traded away a first-round pick. Yes, in 2027. And I know people are like, yeah, but it opened up the trade protection for San Jose. Well, do you think the Oilers believe they're going to miss the playoffs? No. Do you honestly think the Oilers are going to miss the playoffs? Yes or no? Not, well, they could, and that's not the question. Yes or no? Do you think the Oilers are going to miss playoffs this year? So obviously the organization doesn't. I don't think they will. So then the pick, the protection's irrelevant. Number 2. So they took on Mangiapane, $3.6 million on the cap next year and what's ever remaining this year. And they retained half of 4.25 of Dickinson. And you got Colton Dach, who's a former second-round pick who was drafted in 2021, and he's already in the NHL as a rookie. Now, Colton Dach, his last few years in the WHL is over a point-a-game player. He had 52 goals in his last 104 WHL games. Decent point producer, big body. Now, is he going to be a big point producer in the NHL? Probably not. And if all he becomes is a third-line energy guy, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, what do you think that draft pick was going to become that's likely a 25th to 32nd pick? Most likely, unless the Oilers, really kind of flame out next year, right? That's probably what it's going to be. Would we agree with that? So you do a quick little history on that draft pick. You have a 36% chance of that draft pick becoming a player who will play more than 250 games. Here's the list of players. So I did a decade and I went from 2011 to 2020. I didn't do after that because most of those guys still 5 years later, aren't in NHL. Funny enough, Dach is one of them. Now, he wasn't drafted 25th to 32nd. But here's the list of players. Now, there's one superstar that was drafted from 25 to 32 in the decade of 2011 to 22, from 11 to 20, David Pastrnak. Now, there's some really good players. Phil Dadno, Ricard Raquel, Brady Shea Theodore, Jason Dickinson from the Oilers, Ryan Hartman, solid player, Adrian Kempe, Jack Roslovic, 25th overall, Tage Thompson, really good player, Trent Frederick, 29th overall, Sammy Steele, 30th, Jake Ottinger, 26th, right? Shane Pinto, 31st. So there's definitely some players there, no question. But look at the 2020 draft. Like Ridley Gregg just was in town, fought Podkolzin, pretty good player, right? He still hasn't played 250 games. And he was drafted in 2020. So that draft pick of 2027, you're getting Jason Dickinson, who's a very good third-line center. You've been clamoring for a third-line center for years. That's what Edmonton needs, is a third-line center. So they get one, but wow, no, I don't want to give up a first. Why? Like, look what Colorado traded away Nick Roy. They had to take on his entire salary, and Toronto got a first-rounder and a conditional fifth-round pick. So Nick Roy cost Colorado more on the cap this year than Dickinson does. And they didn't get a younger player back. Like, I don't know how good Dach will be. Right? But if he becomes a bottom 6 NHL player, then to give up the first rounder for Dach and Dickinson, I don't see why it looks so crazy. It's like, what am I missing here? I don't understand the outroar. I get it that some people just like to complain, and social media is probably not the best place to look for always having some rational thought process on it. But I don't see the Dickinson trade being so ugly. Like, all you got to do is look at what he's going to do for the Edmonton Oilers. There's a few things that he's going to do that won't even show up in his box scars. And this is the biggest one. So you have Dickinson, who has played a lot against top players, right? A lot. And he's done it quite well, right? Very well. So you look at Dickinson, he was playing 49% of his minutes, according to Puck IQ, against elite players. 49, that's almost 50. Right? He's like played the second most minutes in the NHL. Now, Chicago, they're all like, hey, we got to protect Connor Bedard. So Dickinson, you're going to get fed all the minutes. Who do you think played against Connor McDavid when they played against Chicago? Jason Dickinson. So now, is he going to play that many minutes in Edmonton? Of course not, because you got a Draisaitl line and you got a McDavid line. But here's what happens. So even if you just say, Dickinson's going to take 1/3 of that ice time against the other team's top line, right? Just a low bar. Let's say the top guys play, 50 minutes at 5-on-5? Well, instead of Draisaitl and McDavid splitting it, now it's going to be split 3 ways. So what that's going to mean is when Dickinson's out there against the other team's top line, that means one of McDavid or Draisaitl, his line is going to be out against the third or fourth line of the other team. Because one of them is going to be out against the second line. That's a major mismatch in Edmonton's favor. And if you can get, let's say it's 7 shifts a game for McDavid or Draisaitl out against the other team's third and fourth lines, that's a big advantage. Now, that won't show up in Dickinson's boxcars because he won't be on the ice. But it's going to create mismatches that should benefit Edmonton, especially on home ice. Right? Especially. So that's a big advantage I think some people are not looking at here. Right? And like if you look at the Oilers roster, it's easy to figure in that they could re-sign Dickinson because Adam Henrique's contract's up at the end of the season. Now, the key when they do it is don't give him too much damn term. Right? Give him 2 years, 3 years max. Right? He's going to come here. He hasn't played on a competitive team in a long time. I would think if he had any competitive fire, which he has, and you got to remember, he did play the Stanley Cup final with Dallas back in 2020. Hasn't been in the playoffs since. You don't think that guy's missing it? Imagine that. You go all the way to the Cup final, and yeah, it's heartbreak at the end. I get it. But it was an unreal ride. You had a lot of fun. You're like, man, this is why I'm playing the game. This is great. And then since then, a whole lot of nothing. Hasn't played a playoff game since 2020. He's still got 40 playoff games in his career. So, and he's he's 30 years of age. You sign him to a 3-year deal, right? That's age 31, 32, 33. What's wrong with that? So I don't get the uproar. I don't get it. Dickinson himself is a really good player, really valuable role on your team that's going to free up, in theory, easier minutes for McDavid and Draisaitl. That is a massive win. It's a massive win. And look for him to probably start on a line with Podkolzin and Frederick. That's going to be the line, I would think, tomorrow. And then we'll see kind of how it plays out. You got Savoy and Roslovic right now playing with Draisaitl. Kapanen's still not 100% back up to speed, so he'll be on your fourth line. He's going to play with Henrique, and there's Doc, and there's Szymanski, who, they'll mix up a line there, and away they go. So I don't see the big concern. Everyone's like, we need a better third line. Well, we got a third line center, but I didn't like the return. What? What do you think you're going to get a really good third line center for? A bag of chips? Right? Hey, you know what? Just take Andrew Mangiapane. Oh, yeah. What? You hated Andrew Mangiapane. They actually took his whole salary and retained on Dickinson. And you got Doc. What the hell you think you're going to have to give up? That's a good deal. Now, that doesn't make up for what's looking like a bad deal on Jarry so far. Now, Tristan Jarry's got to wake up here. He's got to play better. Oilers team defense, should help for sure. But Jarry on his own's got to play better. Full stop. Two things can happen at the same time. Oilers defensively have to play better. Tristan Jarry needs to play better. Both. All right, so we'll see. But that deal, I actually really like that trade. I actually like the Murphy trade for Edmonton. You give him a second rounder for a top 4 defenseman? Like, what if you sign Murphy to an extension? Again, a reasonable extension. You don't have to go crazy, right? There's another guy. This will be his first time in the playoffs with fans. He's been in the playoffs once in his career. The guy's 32 years of age, right? He'll turn 33 later this month. So sign him to a 2-year extension. 33, 34. I guess if you want to stretch it out to 3 years, I could live with it, but I'd probably prefer 2 and go from there. Makes the deals a lot better. The deals on their own, I quite like. Now, the future signings plays into the part of the deals. There's no question about it. But, and then there's Colton Doc. Like, I see a lot of people, I don't like this trade. And most of them have never even watched the guy play. I haven't. I'm not going to pretend to say that I know much about Colton Doc. I watched him in junior. I've watched him twice in the NHL. So not enough to make any sort of statement. It's pretty clear he's physical, he's big. All right, I saw some people say his skating's bad. No, it isn't. His top end speed's 22.68. He can move around. He's just fine. Not everybody's a burner. Right? Now that Trent Frederick's winning some battles, does anybody think his skating's a problem? No. Right? His top end speed isn't 22.6. So Colton Dach comes in. He's a younger guy. He's robust, and he's basically a rookie. Right? Now, lucky enough, he got 25 games last year. But he considered himself a rookie because he hasn't played that. It's the 26 game threshold. It's very odd, but that's just what it is by NHL standards. So he's considered a rookie. And, bigger body, hits a lot. In junior, he had hands. I don't think they've just disappeared. He's playing 11 minutes a night in Chicago. He's probably not going to play that much here in Edmonton. And he might not be a regular right now, but he's a future guy. And the odds, like for fun, did you know that in the 2021 draft year that he was in, and I talked about picks 25 to 32, because I think the Oilers next year will probably still win one round of the playoffs. So the players who are taken between 25 and 32 in Colton Dach's draft include Carson Coleman's yet to play an NHL game. Carson Lambos played one NHL game. Oscar Olofsson played 4 NHL games. Chase Stillman, no NHL games. Zachary Dean, 9 NHL games. Then Nolan Allen, 43 NHL games. Logan Mailloux, 54 NHL games. And Zachary Leroux, 66 NHL games. Scroll down to the guy who was taken in the second round, Colton Dach. He's played more games, 78, has the same amount of goals and more points than any of them. That's my point about 25 to 32. It's not a lock that pick becomes a really good player. Dach might end up having just as a decent of a career because it's a crapshoot, man. It's a crapshoot. I think some people hear first rounder and they think elite player, impact player. Sure, if it's a top 10 first rounder, and you can find guys, David Pasternak, Tage Thompson. Yeah, you can find guys late. I get it. But it's not the norm. I mentioned Jack Ross, a good NHL player. Trent Frederick, solid NHL player. Right? Jason Dickinson, funny enough, all those guys were taken in that area. So that's what the Oilers gave up. The potential of that. 36%, by the way, in the decade of 2000. And that's a recent decade. I don't want to go back in time because the game's changed so much. You're looking at 32 teams. You got a better assessment. So I actually don't mind those trades. Other trades I didn't like. But that trade on its own, I don't mind it at all. At all. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, I love Dach. Been following him since he played for the Blades. Confident he'll inject some energy into the bottom six from Nikki on the north side. Gregor, you're right. The Oilers got to stop giving out no movement clause when they sign the players. Rob, I totally agree with you. A lot of those came on free agency day, and they're given to players as an enticement to sign, and sometimes that means you get them at a lower AAV. That's part of the negotiation, right? We'll give you a slightly lower AAV, but then I want some control in where I'm going. I get it. But, so it's part of the negotiation dance. Right? How about sign guys for 2 years with the no movement clause, but you're confident they're actually going to play well, so they don't have to worry about the no movement clause. Right? If Angiapani played well, no one would be thinking about trading him. Now, he didn't play well. I didn't love the bet from the get-go. I said in the summertime. I'm like, why? You're basically just replacing Skinner and Arvidsson with Skinner and Arvidsson. It's kind of what you're doing. I didn't understand it. So the Oilers scouting has done a really good job on players 21 to 24. Look at the moves they've made there lately. Yarventi for Borgo. I think people like that one. Szymanski, hell of a signing. Right? Howard, people are pretty high on him. Hudson, free agent guy out of college. No issues. Right? They've done pretty good there. It's the older UFAs. Maybe pump the brakes on those ones. Right? Mangiapane did not work. So next summer, take a breath and be like, hey, what do we really need? Because you can get some guys on July 4th for 1/3 of the price in a lot of cases that are going to produce just as well. So that's something to think about. Hey, Greg, is it true he has 189 hits? Yep. He's physical. And guess what? On an Oilers team, what do they need more of? Connor Murphy, like the Oilers had some glaring weaknesses. Now, we know they got to play better team defense as a group. We'd all agree with that. But that's just going to come down like one guy isn't going to magically, Dickinson comes in, he's a good defensive player, and boof, all of a sudden the top two lines are like, okay, we're going to play, right? Like they got to commit to it. But you get Dickinson, who's very good defensively, takes pride in being good defensively, and can take away some of the tough minutes from your top two lines. Check. Connor Murphy, good penalty killer. What does Connor Murphy do that the Oilers don't do great? He's tough in front of the net. So now you know at least when he's on the ice, the front of the net's going to be a harder place for the opposition to be. That's a check mark win for me. Doc, energy guy on your fourth line. Right now, is he going to score less than Matthias Janmark? I don't think so. But he'll probably bring you different elements. He's going to bring you some physicality. Now, I don't know if he's as reliable defensively. Janmark didn't make many mistakes. But he also couldn't win many battles because he had a bad shoulder. So, and I'm not sold that Doc will necessarily be in the lineup every night down the stretch, right? You got Josh Szymanski. Who knows if they'll make another minor move? I wouldn't be shocked if they did. I know Stan Bowman said today that, you know what, this is probably our full roster. I don't see anything significant. You know, we'll listen and look around. Sounds a little bit like a GM that's telling everybody else, hey, you know what, we're not going to do anything. And then the other teams don't think he does something, and then he does anything. So, but the other thing is, look at the size. The Oilers weren't a very big team. And now, Stastny goes from in the lineup to out of the lineup. Mangiapane, out of the lineup. Dickinson comes in, Murphy comes in, Doc comes in. That's bigger guys, bigger bodies, right? Some better overall defensive players. I don't mind the depth. And to give up a first rounder in 2027, I'm just curious as to why all the yelling and screaming and, oh my God, the sky is falling. I just don't buy it. Sorry, I don't buy it. I look up the history of the draft. I know how hard it is. It's not magically going to change. Not every team is going to become the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars, they draft really well. You trade them a draft pick, pretty good chance they're going to hit on it. Now, they don't like everybody. They don't hit anybody, but they hit better than most, at least for the last decade. Now, does that mean they will for the next decade? We'll see. But they had a really good stretch for the Dallas Stars. Coming up on the show today, we will hear from Landon Ferraro. We got Dave Owens and Thirsty Thursday. Arda O'Cal will join us from ESPN. Ryan Pike from Flames Nation. Of course, Uyghur did accept his or cleared his no movement clause. He's going to Utah. Colton Parayko, I know you probably know this already, but he said no thanks. He's not going to Buffalo. And I will say this. When I try to connect the dots, so let's look, who would have leaked that out? It sure as heck wouldn't have been Parayko and his agent. The Buffalo Sabres aren't going to leak that out that we got to trade, because what if he says no? Now people are like, why doesn't somebody want to go to your organization? It's not good. So who's left? The St. Louis Blues. They're like, hey, we want to get this deal done. So you try to put the pressure on, hey, let everybody know that this is the trade. I don't love it. I don't think it's a great move by the Blues. Now, I can't confirm they did it, but what would be the initiative and excitement for anybody else to do it? Right? You have the offer in place, and you just say, hey, here's the trade, but Colton, you know what? Give the Sabres an opportunity to talk to him. What do you think? All behind closed doors. Trade doesn't come to fruition. Trade doesn't come to fruition. And you move on. And now, because the Blues want to trade him once, it's probably going to happen at some point now. Because you're Colton Parayko, you know what? Hey, maybe moving during the season, going to Buffalo isn't where you want to go. Doesn't mean he maybe doesn't go somewhere else. But the Blues clearly want to move on from him. And if I'm a player and I know the team wants to move on from me because they clearly made a trade, I'm going to be looking to say, okay, I think it's time. But I'll make that decision maybe in the offseason. A little bit easier to do. So touch on that. We got Spec. Jacob Robertson will join us. Cam Tate, the 2-minute warning, and more. And, of course, we'll take your text, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We'll return. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, till the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a new from Legacy. Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great. But you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
For the first time in 66 years, Golden Bears and Pandas hockey are on the move. During the 2026-27 Canada West season, 2 of the most successful hockey programs in U Sports history will call Silent Ice Center in Nisku their temporary home. The Golden Bears and Pandas are excited to connect with the South Edmonton community and welcome new fans to experience the tradition and excitement of U of A hockey. Same tradition, new temporary home. Golden Bears and Pandas hockey at Silent Ice Center for the 26-27 season.
A huge thank you for making Sports 1440 the most listened to sports radio station in Edmonton. From Gregor to Carius to Low Tide, we've got in-depth analysis on all your favorite sports. We are Sports 1440.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
It's the iconic Jasper Ave Patty Party. That's on the rocks. We're turning Jasper Avenue green.
Your 5-day St. Patty's Day party kicks off Friday at OTR.
With live entertainment every day.
Including the Feelin' Lucky burlesque show on Sunday.
Plus pipers, Irish dancers, and doors open at 9 a.m. on the 17th.
We got more green beer than Marco has fancy shirts. And trust me, that's a lot.
Lucky the Leprechaun will be there.
Will you?
It's the iconic Jasper Ave Patty Party. That's on the rocks. Next round's on me. Woohoo!
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Mission Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved heavy truck auction is next Thursday at 9 a.m. with tandem and single axle trucks, including a special dispersal of 3 unused 2024 Kenworth T880 tandem cab and chassis trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer service for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Welcome back on a Thursday afternoon. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. The latest trade is the, very kind of a minor deal, but Jeff Petrie, former Edmonton Oiler, is now a member of the Minnesota Wild. Florida gets a 7th rounder that's a conditional that could be a 5th rounder if the Wild win 2 rounds and Petrie plays in 50% of the games. There was another minor deal. The Sharks got defenseman Jet Wu, former Moose Jaw Warrior, and the Vancouver Canucks get defenseman Jack Thompson, more of a AHL deal. Also earlier today, the Colorado Avalanche get Nicholas Roy for a first and a fifth going to Toronto. No salary retention. Vegas acquired center Nick Dowd from the Capitals. Capitals get a second rounder, a third rounder, and goalie Jesper Wickman. So, like when you look at that, Nick Dowd, $3 million. You look at Nicholas Roy, $3 million. You look at the Oilers are paying 2.12 for what's his name? Dickinson, right? They're paying basically it's 2.125 is what it is. And they gave up one pick and they got another player and they Chicago took on the $3.6 million Mangiapane and they retained 50% this year. Like, I don't see why that's such a bad trade. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Let's go in the room now, brought to you by Action Electrical. 53 years in business. Action Electrical provide their projects divisions handle design, build, switchgear replacements, new construction, and renovation. Project, service, testing, and residential solar. They do it all. ActionElectrical.net. Landon Ferraro, former NHL'er, 1440 analyst, joins us. Quickly, give me your thoughts on the two trades that Stan Bowman has made with the Chicago Blackhawks here in the last few days.
I like them. You know, we talked about Connor Murphy last week when I was on the show, and to me, like, that was the first order of business Edmonton needed to do. It didn't need to be the big sexy trade, bringing in the flashy player. They needed a defenseman that was good in front of his net, good PK, thinks about the defense before joining the rush. You know, he's going to have a couple more ones off the glass, but that's fine. Edmonton's got some fast players that can go chase that down. They need someone that can defend, and I think he can do that well. With Dickinson coming in, it's another bigger body that can skate. He finishes hits. He's just over 50 hits on the year. And, again, it's just another bigger body that has a bit of scoring touch, but can move around the ice. And if you start to look how that bottom six can be filled out, like, all of a sudden they've got some guys that skate, that can play hard. It makes the look a lot different. And to me, you can look at the deals separately, but I mean, you just put them together. Essentially, you have Dickinson and Murphy and Doc thrown in there for a first, second, and Mangiapane's money going out. To me, it's pretty tidy work.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Like, I look at Dickinson, and the biggest thing that he's going to bring to the team that's probably not even going to show up in his stats line is he's going to, because it's not going to be every game. Right now, he plays the second most minutes in the NHL against elite forwards. That's not happening in Edmonton, right? Because you got McDavid and Draisaitl. You don't need to be scared. But McDavid and Draisaitl now, if let's say there's 50 minutes a game against elite players at 5-on-5, 15 or 16, they kind of split most of it. Well, now you can go three ways, and that's going to free up 5 minutes split between Draisaitl and McDavid, where they're going up against the other team's third or fourth line. That's a massive mismatch in Edmonton's favor, especially on home ice.
For sure. And like, all of that is very true and very important, but also, like, something that I've been talking about for, the season and a half I've been working with, doing the pre and post with you guys, is like, their gameplay individually, like, it needs to be better, but as a whole, you need guys to be able to pull some minutes, like, take a bit of that hardship off of McDavid and Draisaitl. Like, some of those bigger matchups, of course they can handle it, they can do it, but like you said, if you can take them away from some of those, lighten their load up a little bit, especially through the end of the season, let them have a bit more juice going into the playoffs. You don't have to run them ragged every single game. Like, just trying to spread that all out. Like, that's a really good point. And Dickinson, again, is someone that can handle that. When he played with, higher up in the lineup when he first got to Chicago, like, he had some decent offense in him as well when he slides down. I think you'll be able to do that as well, and hopefully in the bottom six, as they start to figure that out, they can find ways of being consistent in that fashion as well.
Connor Murphy, he'll come in. He's going to help on the penalty kill. Dickinson's going to help on the penalty kill for sure. They're going to start Murphy with Wallman, but Chris Knobloch has said, hey, I'm going to try different things. I actually really believe when it's all said and done, it's going to be Nurse and Murphy as your second pair. What do you think?
I like that. To me, for when you look at Nurse, everything about him when he plays well is about simplification, right? And that's Connor Murphy's game. Now you can put those two together if that's what you're going to end up doing after a first bid here, but you can put those two together and you give them one clear, simple message. Shut down whoever you're playing against. You don't have to do anything else. Hard to play against and shut them down. So I guess a two-parter message. But it's that simple, right? And you let them go do that. They can take big minutes. And again, just like we were talking about Dickinson hopefully pulling some of those tougher matchups away from Draisaitl and McDavid, well, you're now going to be asking Murphy and Nurse to be doing that from Bouchard and Ekholm. And with the way Bouchard's going, maybe that opens him up a little bit more. And he's already having a fantastic year, but with that little extra space playing against some lesser matchups, can they get more goals early in a game and play with a lead and start spreading those minutes out, right? Like it all ties in together, but you have to do the basics first.
Yes. No, that's fair. Because the order, hey, let's be honest here. They got to play better defensively. And
yeah,
it's not that they can't. They just have to commit to it because they committed to it for 25 games and they had the third lowest goals against average in the NHL. So I know they can do it, but it's a matter of doing it. And now we're into the final quarter of the season. 20 games left. You know what? You want to get home ice advantage bare minimum. So that means you got to catch one of Vegas or Anaheim. In an ideal world, you want to catch both. They play Anaheim 3 times in their final 20 games. So, and they actually play the most games against Vegas, Anaheim, Seattle, San Jose, LA, amongst all those 6 teams. So they control their destiny a little bit more. They've got the one road trip that comes up next week. That would be difficult in Vegas and Colorado and Dallas and well, St. Louis isn't that hard. But really the Oilers, I think they're actually in a very good spot to control their destiny if they just decide to show up and play defensively.
And I think that's exactly the right word, Greg, is decide. Because like you said, like we've all seen them do it. And I mean, you only have to go a week back to where they had a great game and shut it down and completely blew a team out of the water. They can do it. It's just they have to commit to it. And I was talking about this with Walks the other night after the game, but to me, it's a good problem to have because if you look at it, like it's not like it's people are pinching all over the place and blowing coverage and like it's all these like glaring massive issues that like it's going to take time to work out. A lot of it to me is they're playing in front of the net and just being a bit more aggressive in tying up players and knocking them down when there is a scramble in front, just being harder right there. The amount of goals that have been scored from, like the Oilers have their players in front and they're like, they have their man, then they just kind of let them go and the pass comes through and it goes in. Like it's just staying sharp in the defensive zone. So to me, and to your point, it's not a hard fix. It's just a sit down and really turn your brain on and say, okay, it's, we're into the stretch or into the final push here. Like we need to dial it in and we can't have those little mental lapses here and there.
I think Dickinson's first game is going to come with Podkolzin and Frederick on his wings. And now that's, based on a little inside information and just looking at, a bigger, heavier line. Trent Frederick has played that role in Boston at times and actually has really good numbers doing it. And Podkolzin's, dogged worker. I look at the potential of that line and they should be able to chip in a little bit because, they're all bigger bodies that can be physical. Trent Frederick's really won a lot more battles coming out of the break, which I think is added to him having the puck more and they're playing the offensive zone more, gives him some confidence for sure. That's a line now that can be trustworthy regardless of where they start.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I feel like it's a line that like the Edmonton Oilers have missed, even in the last couple playoff runs. Like a line that is big, they play heavy, and they're not afraid to run around a little bit and create a bit of that emotion. I'm mostly excited about seeing Podkolzin on that line because of the steps that he has taken over the past, call it calendar year. Right? Like his game is elevated so far and as much you got to give him, 98% of that credit, but I feel like you got to give a little bit of that to Draisaitl as well. Like seeing what gifts that Podkolzin had and taking the time and working with them. And, I don't think it's hard to figure out either that if Draisaitl said, I want to play with that guy, like he wouldn't have been on his line nearly as long as he has been. And because of it, I'm excited to see him run it, like kind of run his own line and play that. But for those three, I'm excited to see them move around. I think Frederick's been skating better, like you said, coming out of break. He's been on the body a bit more. Podkolzin is his normal self. And now you drop Dickinson in there that, as much as he has his style of play, but especially for the first few games here, like you got to remember, like he just got pulled out of Chicago where, like there's some good vibes around. They're happy with where their team's going, but they're nowhere near contenders. And he gets dropped onto this team and a good opportunity for him. He's going to be excited to get going.
So I was looking up some numbers on Jason Dickinson. So Jason Dickinson in 47 games has played 276 minutes of time against elite players in the NHL. That's 49% of his 5-on-5 time, which is wild. Draisaitl's played 315 minutes. McDavid's played 366, 35% of Draisaitl's minutes, 37% of McDavid. McDavid's been on the ice for 13 goals against. Draisaitl's been on for 16. Dickinson's been on for 10. Right? He's got a way better goals against ratio. Now, those guys, the top two lines, McDavid and Draisaitl, they outscore the opponents, right? And Dickinson hasn't because, he doesn't have the offensive capabilities of teammates or line mates or himself and those guys. But you look at the share of minutes that he has, that's going to reduce the TOI of McDavid and Draisaitl significantly against elite, and it's going to give them more time against other teams' bottom players, Landon, and that's where I think the big advantage comes in. Right? Like, it could be significant.
Oh, 100%. And again, right, like this to me is, it's fully on Dickinson to what extent he comes in, gets comfortable, and can show that he can do that playing for the Oilers. There's no reason to say he can't, but the quicker that he can get into it and get comfortable and start pulling those minutes little by little and gaining everyone's trust there, the better it's going to be. We've seen what anytime a McDavid or a Draisaitl, especially when they get thrown out together, look like when they get thrown out against a third or fourth line, right? Like it looks like your kid plays on the Pee Wee team and it's the parents versus kids. Like you can't touch the puck. So anytime that you're going to be able to put them out in those positions, yes, it's going to help the team. But again, especially for the regular season, I just can't stress enough just giving them those easier minutes to save some. Like they've played a lot of hockey, those two, and have been in, the biggest situations, the biggest minutes, getting hit the most. Like those past two playoff runs have not been easy physically on both of those guys. So again, any little bit you can take off of their plate, especially in the regular season, while still winning games, trying to look at the playoff run you're hoping to have.
You look at some of the others. Nick Dowd goes to Vegas. Nick Roy goes to Colorado. Dickinson comes to Edmonton. Any one of those three you like best for their teams?
Well, first off, I'll say the surprise with the Dowd haul back. I was a little surprised with the two picks and the younger goaltender, but I think Waugh going into Colorado, like that's another really good player going into a really good team, right? He's another long, good skating, hard to play against bottom six type guy. And you look at McKinnon, Nelson, now him, like they're deep down the middle again. They have a really good team. Like to me, Colorado is still the scary team. Vegas, they can add what they want, and you're kind of waiting for them to get back and kind of pop. But at the same time, I maybe they've won since, but when is the last time they won against a playoff team? Like it's been a long, long time, right? So I'm not as worried for them, but the wad to Colorado is a fun one to look at.
Yeah. And they gave up a first and a fifth. Now Colton Dach is a younger player. Right, big body, very aggressive. Has got 189 hits, playing about 11 minutes a night in Chicago. Do you think he's going to be a regular in Edmonton, or Is he more, a physical guy, and that's maybe more of a down the road acquisition?
I think it's a bit more down the road. Like the hard part a bit is he doesn't really play power play, he's not going to play power play. He doesn't play PK. Like finding minutes for him within Edmonton right now, I think is going to be really tough. All of a sudden with a couple players coming in, like Edmonton's roster looks pretty full. And not only that, but they're big, other than Szymanski, who obviously is a bigger player as well, but he's younger. Like that bottom six is filled with some pretty veteran players that can, so it'll be interesting to see him, Doc, get thrown in a little bit, but I imagine he's, a bit more of the future and, kind of that extra piece that was thrown in because they, any younger player for the Oilers can help right now.
Landon, the Connor Murphy deal is big for them. Now you look at kind of who's left out there. There are some big names still being rumbling, and we all know there's going to be significant trades here in the next 23 hours. I think that the Oilers could make another move here. Probably just another depth guy, because I don't know if they want Szymanski or Colton Dach to be their kind of 12th, 13th forward where one of them's in and out of the lineup. Doesn't do either one any good. So I could see them adding another veteran because Curtis Lazar is banged up right now.
Yeah, I would say so. Much like the Petrie deal to Minnesota, right? Like it's not like he's getting traded there to be in the lineup. He's behind three players on the right side, and you need extra players if you're planning to go for a long run. I would think another, a veteran player that you can get for cheap that is really reliable. Exactly what you're going to get out of him is probably, I would imagine what you're talking about as well. That's just a nice plug and play player that if there is some injury problems that you can chuck them in and you know what you got.
Landon, one last one for you. Biggest name you think is going to get dealt between now and tomorrow?
That's a good question. I would say, it's funny. Like I'm obviously I do a lot of work here in the Vancouver market, and the amount of Garland and Besser names that are popping out there. It's interesting this year with having to be cap compliant come playoff time, how different this all looks and having to work. I still think like Trocheck is kind of the key piece that's left. But then you see reports that they're not really getting offers that are around what they're expecting. Like, I just feel like teams this year had a lot of action or a lot of plans and then realized it's not like the past where, teams are accumulating cap space all over the place and you could make all these bigger deals happen. Like it's not the Florida Panthers last year where you're able to bring in three different players with money. So I know I didn't technically give you a name, but Greg, I'm gonna be honest, I it's a tough one.
Yeah, I think I'm curious about Kadri. We know the St. Louis Blues are trying to dump guys, so we'll see if they can find a Parayko deal or a Thomas deal or something. So I think the Blues are looking to move, and the Nashville.
Right, but you bring up. Yeah. Well, so I was just going to say, you bring up Kadri, but again, Colorado was a perfect fit, except they can't make the money work. And, it's such a different scenario this year. And it's really hindering some of these teams that thought they were going to be.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think right now the price is high, but as anything goes, the closer you get to the deadline, now it's a game of cat and mouse. And will the other guy blink? And, well, geez, I really want a second. Well, we're only going to offer you a third. Do you want to take a third or take nothing? So it becomes a little bit of a cat and mouse. So we'll see how it goes. Thanks for your time, Landon. Have a good one.
Yeah.
We'll return. David Owens joins us Thursday
well.
by PlayAlberta.ca.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 furnace install company for sailors because they know the value of a warm port. And they sing, there was a ship who fought the cold to sail the sea with a furnace load. She brought the heat to IEG and her name was Legacy. Through icy wind and winter squall, her fire she burned for one and all with a comfort chugging guarantee, and her name was Legacy. No payments, no! Yep, no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. Don't trust just any ports in a winter storm. Trust Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
Your all-access pass to the world of sports is Edmonton's only sports radio station.
From pre- and post-game hockey shows to in-depth analysis from your favorite commentators, the action never stops on Sports 1440.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Don't let equipment failure stop you cold. At AWS Welding in Nisku, our factory-trained service techs are on hand for all welding equipment repairs. We're a full warranty center for Miller, Lincoln, and ESAB, and we service all makes and models. Proper, regular service extends the life of your gear and keeps it running at peak capacity. Don't wait for a breakdown. Book your service appointment today at aws.ca. AWS Welding. Our welding keeps you working.
The Price is Right Live is coming to Canada, and The Brick is a proud sponsor. Come on down to The Brick to win big this Saturday, March 7th from noon to 2. Join us at The Brick South Edmonton Common for your chance to instantly win from over $25,000 in prizes, including brick shopping sprees, TVs, Oilers tickets, and so much more. No purchase necessary. Some conditions apply. See in-store for contest details and exclusions. So come on down to The Brick South Edmonton Common this Saturday.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.252 Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. It's always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where while you're there, check out the Jason Gregor Show odds boost every day. A few little different little parlays for you. Check it out, especially a few extras on Oilers game days. Now, let's get to Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor. You like beer, cocktails, wine, anything non-alcoholic? They have it all. Best selection in the city. 2 locations. Of course, southeast side on 50th and 92nd, and the original location, 118th and St. Albert Trail. As we are joined once again by David Owens from Sherbrooke. Dave, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm excellent. What thoughts have for today?
Well, International Women's Day is coming up, so we're doing a bit of a IWD edition. So we thought we'd so we're gonna do the same thing today, but we're gonna do it with a Lafroig. And Lafroig was
what the hell is Lafroig?
Lafroig it's a Scotch malt whiskey. This is the Lafroig 10, and it's from Islay. And Bessie Williamson, she started working there as a secretary in 1934.
Okay.
And by 1950s, she became owner of the distillery. And
really?
On Islay, an industry almost entirely run by men. Her impact was super significant, right? So she protected Lafroig's really intensely, heavily peated character when others were really starting to soften their styles. She expanded exports, particularly to the U.S., and she preserved traditional floor maltings, keeping the peat at the really heart of the distillery's identity. And she really helped position Islay as a whiskey destination long before it became a pilgrimage site that it is today.
Okay.
So, and Lafroig's got a long history. It's one of those, it's interesting too. It really gained a foothold also during Prohibition.
Yeah.
Was it first got going. And the reason why was because doctors would prescribe it as medicine. It's very medicinal, as we're going to get into when we taste it. So when Prohibition happened, pharmacies were allowed to dole out Lafroig. And so people needed their little bit of hit of something, so they'd go to a pharmacy to get their Lafroig.
That's how I've always used Jägermeister. It's medicinal.
Exactly. So Lafroig, it makes it really, stand apart. It's heavily peated, and it's got sort of medicinal iodine kind of flavor hits to it, campfire ash, brine and seaweed, sweet malt underneath, and a long smoky finish. And people say, I love this, or why the heck does this taste like a hospital on fire? Is kind of the
oh my god. That puts hair on your chest instantly. God, my hair is suddenly going to be like a chia pet here pretty quick. You're right, it's smoky. And now I know always the first time I have a scotch, the first sip is kind of like, ooh. So I was gotta but that's very smoky with the taste. Ooh, that's just straight up, right?
That's just straight up. So, expect that iodine, that campfire ash.
Oh my God.
Some sea spray, and underneath it all, like a little bit of vanilla, some malt sweetness. You just got to sit with it and let that smoke roll, right?
Oh God. Yeah. It's like I'm at a campfire right now.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
yeah.
We got a few more of these.
We got a few more to go. All right. So this one we put a little bit of water in this one.
Okay.
So we added a few drops of water. This the smoke softens. You'll start to get a little bit of citrus and vanilla coming through to it. That water releases those aroma and compounds and really opens up the whiskey's texture, as we talked about before. And you can tell even with the smell immediately that it's toned down.
Oh my God. That's like, yeah, I can handle that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure people that are Scotch drinkers would love the original. Like that's one, probably have it on a glass. It's slow with a big square ice cube.
Yeah.
Right. You can let it kind of slow it down over time. It's just like, I don't even like the smell of campfire.
Yes.
Right? Like I'm not a big smoke guy. So, but it's amazing to me how smoky it tastes. Doesn't really smell smoky.
No, it's not overly
smoky. It's weird.
Yeah. You really, like I said, with the aroma, the smell of it, I think I get more that ocean.
Yeah.
To it. It's really fantastic. So, and Lafroig is actually really open to doing a lot of cool different cocktails and things like that. So this one here is the Islay Queen, or a smoky gold rush. And so it's Lafroig, some fresh squeezed lemon juice in there, some honey syrup, and just a little pinch of sea salt. So just get a little swirl in there, make sure that sea salt has got mixed in.
Okay. Oh, sea salt.
Now normally you would shake this in a snifter, shake this and then pour it.
Yeah, you still taste the smoke in it for sure.
Still
but it's kind of creamy though.
Yeah.
Weird.
So a little bit of smoke, a little bit of citrus, that honey comes into the balance of it, right?
Yeah.
Really, and the salt really amplifies that.
The salt is very much like, how much did you put in?
Maritime, just a little pinch in both.
Just a pinch, eh?
Yeah, and that just really amplifies that maritime character to it. But so imagine this shaken on ice, it would dilute it just a little bit further, really, really chilled. And this is a really refreshing summer cocktail.
Yes. Yeah, I could see that. See, the thing I like about it as I get older is because when I was younger, I was drinking to just get annihilated. Let's not kid ourselves here. And now, though, is I could sit there. Hey, I just want to taste it a little bit, take a little bit more time. Like there's still a few times on a golf trip. Maybe you want to just let one loose here, but I could see how this is more of a like a sipper that you can just kind of enjoy it. You get used to the taste, and like anything I find, even now by my third sip of a scotch, it's way easier.
Way easier, absolutely. And if you go back and smell that first one compared to even the cocktail, you can really start to identify.
Oh yeah,
and pull those pieces out of it, right?
Yes.
So and that's why I love doing this fun sort of 5. It's one bottle 5 ways because they're just every one is completely different, but it's the same core.
It's the exact same bottle. Crazy.
Exact same thing. Yeah.
And then now why is this one so much darker?
Okay, so this is the last one. So you're gonna take that orange peel you got there.
Yeah.
And we're gonna espresso. You remember how to espresso? We upside down, skin side, right?
Yeah.
And you give it a really good pinch over top.
Pinch over top.
And then just rub it around your rim and then drop her in.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So this is a peat old fashioned or a smoke and ember.
Okay.
So
why are we? I'm taking the orange rind and I'm putting it around
Put
the
the other side of it. Other side. Yeah. The skin's there. You go.
Yeah,
That's where the oil. It's really, really light and simple. You don't have to get too heavy
and
on
then
it.
you drop it in.
Yeah. Just drop it right in.
All right.
So this is Lefroy, and it's dark because it's a really rich Demerara syrup that we put into it. 2 dashes of orange bitters and the expressed orange peel.
Ooh, that's a good old fashioned.
That's a good old fashioned.
Wow. That's a really good old fashioned. Oh my God. I can't believe you drink this straight. I'm like, this is turpentine. I can't handle it. But now, that orange.
That orange in there.
Oh.
That really rich Demerara syrup. Like that is.
It's funny how you put that orange and you take the rind and you rub it around your glass. Now when you sip it, it's definitely more, you can taste it more.
That's a fantastic.
What's the chocolate here for?
All right, so we're gonna go back to the first one. I want you to take a little bit of bite of chocolate here.
So bite the chocolate.
Yeah, put it in your mouth. Oh, it starts to melt a little bit in your mouth. Well, and then take a sip of that whiskey.
So I have some dark Lindt chocolate for anybody listening.
70% cacao. Really important.
It's still very tough for me. I've had scotch before, but man, this one is woo.
Well, you start to get that, that cocoa in there, almost some toasted almond. That smoke sort of adjusts.
I think I'll just go back to the old fashioned.
You go back to the old fashioned.
This old fashioned is really good though.
It's pretty top notch. It's pretty top notch. Yeah. And I highly recommend doing a Demerara syrup for people making simple syrups at home. It just really transforms it. It's not as sweet.
Yes. It's not sweet at all.
But
it's
you get all
really
the rich caramelized flavors from that, molasses and stuff in it. So, and simple syrup is super simple to make. It's 2 to 1 sugar to water, and just warm water.
So you put a cup of sugar and 2 cups of water.
You'd put 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of water.
Oh, 2 to 1 sugar.
Yeah,
okay.
And so
that's all you have to do is 2 cups of sugar, a cup of water, and then you just boil it.
Yeah, I made this morning, really fresh. I've got a thing here. I just did. I did half a cup of sugar and a quarter cup of hot water, and just mixed all up until it melts, and put it in the fridge, and you're good for 2 to 3 weeks in the fridge. Really.
Wow. There you go.
There
Think
you
about
go.
that, people. Now you can make your own simple syrup. That's why it's probably called simple syrup. It's pretty simple.
It's pretty simple.
So
Yeah,
you have to make it with the warm. You don't mix it together.
Warm water. Yeah,
Okay.
usually just do it on like in the stove in a pot is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
And just slowly heat the water though until it melts in. Add a little bit more. Add a bit more in. You don't want it to
Don't dump it all in at once.
and
Okay.
don't bring it to a boil. You just want to have it warm. You don't want it rolling or anything. You just
Okay.
want it warmed up. And worst case scenario, you need to do it really quick. Like I did this morning. Boiled the kettle, poured it in, measured out the bottom pit, started adding in sugar and stirring it, and it turned out great.
Now, does this Lefroy? Is there just one bottle of Lefroy? Is it the only one?
Well, there's lots of different expressions of Lefroy. This is the Lefroy 10. This is just a classic expression. The quarter cask is also considered one of their favorite ones.
Like, are they all that? Like, this one's for me now. Granted, I'm not. Are they all this harsh, or is this one harsher?
Lefroy is always this style of peat.
Okay.
And so there's a couple of different types of peat that are out there. There's this really heavy medicinal stuff, and so this is the kind of peat you get in Lefroy. You get it in Ardbeg. You'll get it in Lagavulin. And then there's a softer, more, smoky peat that's not as medicinal like, and it's in things like Brooklady and places like that. So, there's sort of two different styles, but this is the big one, the big punchy one that stands out.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Dave. Well, that's great stuff, buddy. And more importantly, I got a little Lindt chocolate.
And
I'll finish that. But that old fashioned, that Lefroy old fashioned, just with simple syrup and the peel the orange, right? Just very simple, just a slight little peel of the rind. You can see it in my glass. And then
and when you express it, turn it around so the skin side down is what you're expressing.
Yeah.
And then you just rub it around the edge of your glass.
That's a difference.
It's nice and light ease. Yeah.
Very
And let's also have
difference
a couple of dashes of orange bitters.
Orange
Just get
bitters.
some orange Angostura.
All right.
It's perfect.
My next pizza party, I'm going to have to try one of those.
There you go.
It. Awesome stuff, buddy.
Right on.
Any,
Fantastic.
what are your thoughts on the trades?
I think you're great. Yeah. I mean, we've been looking for that center forever. We need a good stay-at-home defenseman guy. Fantastic. I think that, I guess I was saying earlier, it's tough reading the social media stuff on it because people are crazy. They're so upset with the stuff. But I think it's a pretty good pay for that matter. You got somebody right now who can play, not in, 5 to it's going to be 2032 before that pick ever plays.
And if it does. So
if it does.
We'll see. So,
I think it's
now just don't sign him to a long-term extension. That's the key.
Exactly.
If you want to re-sign him, re-sign him,
thing.
but don't re-sign him for 5 years and a no trade clause. Just
That's right.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's David Owens from
Hot
Sure
fingertips.
Brook Liquor. We'll take a quick break. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. If you're looking for oil change, vehicle repair, need new tires, they got it all. FountainTire.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
With the NHL trade deadline looming, a few deals this afternoon. Sharks acquiring Jet Wu from the Canucks for Jack Thompson, while the Panthers sending Jeff Petrie to the Minnesota Wild for a conditional 7th-round pick. On the ice tonight, Maple Leafs in New York taking on the Rangers. Flyers host the Mammoth. You got the Sabres in Pittsburgh. Jackets and Panthers. Bruins taking on the Preds. Jets host Lightning. They'll be in Minnesota taking on the Timberwolves. Tip off 6 o'clock. You also have the Magic and the Mavs. Jazz take on the Wizards. Heat host the Nets. Pistons taking on the Spurs, Suns, Bulls, Lakers, Nuggets, and the Pelicans in Sacramento. PWHL, New York will host Boston just after 5. And from the NFL, the Buffalo Bills acquiring wide receiver DJ Moore and a 5th-round pick from the Chicago Bears for a 2nd-round pick. In a diminished role with the Bears last season, Moore finished with 50 receptions, 682 yards, and 6 scores. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll get to the stat of the day. We'll be joined by Arka Okal from the NHL on ESPN, and we'll speed things up in the Cantor Racing Report with Colin Livingston. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the #1 heating and cooling company for people who want heating and cooling, because you'll save a bundle by bundling. Then you can use hot, cold, hot, cold. Come on, thermostat, do what you're told. Turn up the heat, turn up the cold, to the vents start pushing out tornadoes. Bundle my furnace with some AC. Gonna get a deal from Legacy. Oh, yeah. Save a bundle when you bundle your new furnace and AC from Legacy today. Plus no payments and no interest for 1 year. That's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great. But you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price.
Welcome back on a third.
For yourself. Get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. March Madness is finally here. If you've been waiting to get into a new or used vehicle, now is the time. This is a mega sale.
52 Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram.
No iPads, no patio sets, no trips to Vegas. Just a good deal. So stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
You're in Northgate country.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Oil Kings hockey at Rogers.
Jason.
Family fun that's second to none.
Hey,
Sunday afternoon.
A tremendous Thursday.
The Fan Appreciation Game is back. One of the biggest games of the season.
Fans in attendance receive a scratch and win ticket with thousands of instant win prizes up for grabs.
Plus, all the Family Fun Sunday face painting, bouncy castles, and Calmont Kids food combos for $10 at 4. Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
It's the iconic Jasper and Patty Party. That's on the rocks.
We're turning Jasper Avenue green.
Your 5-day St. Patty's Day party kicks off Friday at OTR.
With live entertainment every day.
Including the Feelin' Lucky burlesque show on Sunday.
Plus pipers, Irish dancers, and doors open at 9 a.m. on the 17th.
We got more green beer than Marco has fancy shirts. And trust me, that's a lot.
Lucky the Leprechaun will be there.
Will you?
It's the iconic Jasper and Patty Party. That's on the rocks. Next round's on me. Woohoo!
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. We treat pain and injuries head to toe and some other issues that might surprise you, like incontinence, vertigo, neuropathy, and cognitive issues. We invest in the technology, technique, skills, and people who know how and what to fix. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Of course, trade deadline. We are now just under 22 hours from the deadline. We all know it lasts a little bit longer than that, but officially they will have to have everything in within 22 hours. The Edmonton Oilers, according to Stan Bowman, doesn't expect anything else significant. You know, they'll look at some stuff, thinks maybe this is the team they have. Now, I think there's a chance they could add another depth forward for a few reasons. I'm not sold that they want to have Doc and Szymanski as, one of the 13 forwards. So sitting out all that does neither of them any good. They're still young guys. Both of them can go to the minors and both can play. Now, keep in mind that the Oilers you're probably going to see a paper shuffle tomorrow because any player who's eligible for the AHL playoffs needs to be on their roster before the NHL trade deadline. So Szymanski and Doc are both players who are eligible to play in the minors. Now, it doesn't mean they will, but, now that would mean the Oilers, you have 4 recalls, and if they used 2 of those, then they'd have 2 other ones, right? That's how it works. You're allowed 4 recalls after the so I could see it because other than them, Ike Howard, maybe Regula if there's an injury, right? You definitely want to leave one open for a defenseman. They go from there. So I could see at least one of Szymanski or Doc getting moved down just for, a paper transaction. But the challenge about that is if you send a guy down now, by the rules, he's got to play a game. So I'll be curious how that works. Now, the Oilers do have 13 forwards. Could you send a guy down? They probably don't send 2 then. They maybe only send 1. So, but I think if you add another player via trade, then you send the guy down and he just goes back down and plays. So that's why I'm not sold that they're done specifically yet. So we'll see how that plays out. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Do want a big shout out to one of our loyal listeners, Greater Man Jay. He's half a century old today. My God, that is old as dirt. Con man. So Jay, he's a big collector of equipment Bobcats. We hear likes those. Like a typical guy, loses sunglasses on every vacation. And Cons, we're hoping that in the second half century of his life, he avoids getting stuck in a tree while snowboarding. Like, I'd really like to know the background on that story. How do you get stuck in a tree snowboarding? Like, I get you want to take a jump, but you don't see the tree. Clearly, the Greater Man might have to get some glasses on his next skis trip. So, Greater Man, happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. And good job collecting some more Honda Civics. All right. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Now, Cons, can you look it up? Are you allowed the paper transaction on the trade deadline day? Should look at that to see if maybe they don't have to go down. I got to double check that one because that would be I don't know if there's a rule. I didn't look at that rule in depthly enough. So because this would be one where obviously you're doing it. It's not really caps or convention. You're just doing it to get guys so they're eligible to play in the American League playoffs. That's why you do it. So 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We're going to get to the oil report brought to you by Go Auto. If you're looking for a car, truck, SUV, well, guess what? You have over 15,000 to choose from. There's 71 different locations. Just go online, goauto.ca, and I guarantee you they will have what you're looking for at goauto.ca. And we're going to hear from the general manager of the Edmonton Oilers, Stan Bowman. And I did ask him, first of all, about, you made the deal with Chicago. Was it ever close to being just a one big deal? And what led it to being two separate deals?
Yeah, it did come up originally, but it was, I think as things moved along with the Murphy trade, it was hard to put everything together. And I think it became a time sensitive thing to where Kyle wanted to make sure that we were able to close one deal. And then he said, we can revisit this as we get going into the week. So that was how that all played out. But yeah, this was something we were hoping might be able to come together. And then after we completed the Murphy trade, we had a lot of other conversations around the league on different options. And we just kept coming back to the things that the trade would ultimately solve for us. And that's how it all came together eventually.
So there you go. Dickinson and Doc. The GM talks about why he acquired both of them.
Yeah, I will start with Dickinson first. I think the thing that really is impressive about his game is the fact that he takes pride in that role. And I think he's got a very clear job to do, and he embraces that. He does it very well. And I think, I've thought about this over the last few months here. I think the real important part for our team to be successful is we're trying to build a team. We're not just trying to build a collection of players. There's a difference there. Just trying to just bring in players who individually are talented. We're trying to put together a team. And I think that's the thing that I kept coming back to leading into this week was we need some specific players that can fill some roles. And definitely think Murphy and Dickinson can do that. And then Colton Dock is the player I'm familiar with. I drafted him. And I think the part I love about Colton's game is his energy, his style of play. He's a big kid. The thing you notice about him is he's strong, he's physical, but he also has the ability to score. And, in junior, he was able to put the puck in the net pretty well. So he's got an offensive mindset, but I think he understands his role very well, which is to bring some energy to the group, provide some physical play. He's got a lot of enthusiasm to his game. He's a very excitable person too. He brings a lot of energy to the group, which I think is something that we've talked about internally here. It's important to have that, to have some excitement. And, the fact that he's from here, I think is also a great story. Just playing in your hometown, I would imagine is a pretty good opportunity for him. But I think, he's just starting his NHL career. I think he's shown his first couple years pro, he really worked through the American League, and he rolled his sleeves up and got to work, and he earned his progression to the NHL. And now he's trying to establish that role in the NHL. And I think, he's shown he can do it. It's now, as a young player, learning the consistency to be able to do that every night, bring an element that your coaches value, but also your team needs. And then eventually becoming, I think, looking down the road, he's a power forward type of player. I think that's something that you look around the league. I think that's what a lot of teams are looking for, especially this time of year. I think his skill set is going to match nicely. So when you look at those three players, they all have very specific identities, and they bring an element that I think our team was missing. And that's what we're most excited about.
As they should be. Now, we did look it up, and yes, indeed, the NHL wisely has a one-day exception, so the Oilers can send guys down. Szymanski, Savoy's not going to do it because he's going to be on the NHL roster. You don't want to waste one of the 4 recalls on him. And Szymanski, I think, is a for sure. I don't know about Doc. If they feel like, hey, maybe Doc's just here and he's not somebody that's going to go down to the minors anyway. Because if the Oilers are in the playoffs, then you know what? They probably want some of these guys here. I do believe, though, there's a chance because Curtis Lazar is out 4 weeks, so he could be back, right? And you don't need to keep that many guys around. I don't think when you have a chance to play in the playoffs. Do I need to keep a 14th forward just to practice if he could play in the minors and play in the playoffs? No. I play every second day. If I need to call the guy up because he's playing, I'd call the guy up. He'd be way better off playing than sitting for the first 2 rounds and then need him, right? So Curtis Lazar comes back. I think one of the guys would go down then for sure. But you could also add another veteran now, even to be the number 13, rather than have Szymanski or Doc as your number 13th forward. To me, that just doesn't make a ton of sense. So we'll see. Now, it all depends on the acquisition cost. What's his name from St. Louis? They agreed to mutually terminate his contract today. So you could, in theory, just sign Joseph, league minimum salary, prorated for the rest of the year. Don't have to give up anything. Could do that. So there's options for sure to see what the Oilers do in the next few days. Cons, what's up?
We got Warren Fogle going to the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, for what?
Oh, we have another one here. Michael Bunting going to Dallas.
And do we have what the return is?
They just swapping some draft picks here, so nothing on the return yet for either of those, but the names are starting to move here.
Exchange for a 2nd-round pick for Warren Fogle. So the Kings, Warren Fogle going out east. That's interesting. The Sens are adding, right? Obviously, they believe that, guess what? If our goaltending, which has actually been better lately, can wake up, maybe we can close the gap. Or maybe they got another deal coming. But the Senators currently are 6 points out of the playoffs. They have 67 points. They got 22 games left. Boston has 73 points. They have 22 games left. So they're even there. Washington's ahead of Ottawa by 2 points, but Ottawa has 3 games in hand on them. And then there's the Blue Jackets with 70 points. So race is on. The Canadians still haven't done anything. They got to do something, don't they? That's the one team here. You've been in a playoff spot all year long. I'm curious about the Penguins. What are they going to do? Right? The Islanders made 2 trades already. Granted, it was a little bit earlier, so maybe they feel like we're done. We'll see. The Tampa Bay Lightning, I think, are a team that's going to look to make a big splash. Julien Brisebois, that team is good. I think they're looking to make a splash. I think the Buffalo Sabres are looking to make a splash. They got turned down by Colton Parayko, but I don't think that means they're going to stop. So I will see. Hey, guys, does that mean the Kings are sellers by trading Fogle? No, I think in a way that they feel like, hey, we just opened up some cap space and maybe we can add someone else. But I will say I'm not opposed to if the LA Kings, look at the Kings. Right now, they are 5 points out of a playoff spot with a game in hand. So not crazy. Right? Seattle is not a juggernaut. There's another team that's got to do something. The Ducks haven't made any deals yet. The Kraken. What about the Sharks? There's lots of teams here. There's lots of time left to see what's going to happen. We're going to have wall-to-wall coverage, some special trade deadline stuff, of course, tomorrow on the station. So Low Tide's coming in a little bit earlier. I'll come in a bit earlier. We got a few other special guests joining us, so we'll have lots of coverage tomorrow on the show. Maybe we'll get a sound effect, Cons, for a trade. You can just play it, then we'll know when it's coming.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get that in there for sure. We'll take a quick break. We'll get more from Stan Bowman coming up. Also, we'll hear from Connor Murphy and more. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Okay, how about you give us your star winger for a bag of pucks? What if I throw in some Will Hawk beef jerky?
Yourself a trade.
With Will Hawk Beef Jerky on their side, the Alberta teams definitely have an unfair advantage this trade deadline. Pick up some today and use it for trade leverage in your fantasy league.
No way, man. It's way too good.
Will Hawk Beef Jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win trades with salad.
Action Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy. Designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Start your day with a blast of sports. Kevin Carius, along with Brandon Douglas, brings the fire, the fun, and the fearless takes. Weekdays, 7 to 11. Text Kevin, 883-401-1440. Mornings with Sports 1440.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, healing doesn't have to feel heavy because in our SwimX aquatic therapy pools, you literally float your way to recovery. Whether you're dealing with arthritis, back pain, joint injuries, post-surgical rehab, chronic pain, balance issues, mobility challenges, or just feeling a little creaky, warm water and gentle resistance have your back, your knees, and your hips. Trusted by pro sports teams and rehab hospitals, our SwimX pools help you move sooner, hurt less, and recover faster. So take the load off. Let the water do the work. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
Oodle Noodle Origins.
In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudel, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudel was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as
Oodle Noodle.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Cantork has always been a forward-thinking company, but now that we've turned 25, I can't help but take a minute to take a look back. Thank you to everyone that's been with us along the way.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Portions of this hour brought to you by 01 Athletic Care. Injuries don't wait, and neither should you. 01 Athletic Care offers one-stop access to doctors, x-rays, and casting. It's expert musculoskeletal care covered by Alberta Health right now in West Edmonton Mall. Move from injury to recovery. Book now at 01.ca. That's ZERONE.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.328. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely day. The latest trades see that Warren Fogle, former Edmonton owner, the Kings, and the Senators. Interesting that the Kings are trading Fogle for a second rounder to Ottawa. Meanwhile, the Nashville Predators have traded Michael Bunting to Dallas for a third-round pick. So there you go. So those are two of the latest ones. Last one coming from Frank Sauervalley for Nashville. 833-401-1440. You can always text us. It's Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. It's Thursday, the Daily Grand. $1,000 a day you can win at PlayAlberta.ca. As we welcome in Arda Ocal joining us from we lost him from ESPN. All right, so we'll try to get him back here momentarily. Be curious what's ESPN doing for the NHL, because there's a lot of teams. Here we are, we're coming up on just under 22 hours, about 21 and a half hours until the trade deadline, and Tampa Bay Lightning, Buffalo Sabres, Detroit Red Wings, Carolina Hurricanes, Pittsburgh Penguins, Montreal Canadiens, Anaheim, Seattle. Lots of teams that you would expect to make some moves have yet to make any moves. So we'll see what they are going to do. Arda, of all those teams who have yet to make a move, is Arda Ocal joins our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. Oh, it's down to the stretch, baby. And the BCHL playoffs are battling for a playoff spot, more positioning against the Crusaders. You can get your tickets, watch some Saints games, sgsaints.ca. Arda, of all those teams that have yet to make a move, which one do you think is going to make the biggest splash in the next 21 hours?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was just asking that, having a conversation with a friend of mine that's listening right now, Katie Johnstown. Shout out to her. I think I really look at the Seattle Kraken. I wonder if there's anybody on the market that they can get. They need a goal scorer. They need a star. I don't know. That might be tough sledding to find somebody, but that's exactly what they need. Like, they're winning playoff style games. So I wonder, I look at them at the trade deadline. I really wonder who's available and what kind of movement we're going to see in the next 24 hours, because it's very interesting, isn't it? Like, it feels like, I don't know, it feels to me like maybe the biggest moves have already been done, and maybe this might be a quiet trade deadline. I hope not, because we have trade deadline coverage. I want to see 100 plus trades, but I don't know. I have a feeling in my stomach, Jason, that we may not get as many trades as we hope.
Well, the St. Louis Blues are trying to make trades. That's what we know here for sure. Colton Parayko says thank you, but no thank you. You surprised that he opted not to go to Buffalo?
I'm surprised at the flow of information, because I think about how that information would have gotten out, and I wonder also, I think what's lost in all of this is the fact that when you negotiate a contract and a no trade clause is part of it, the player has full right to exercise that. And if the information came out that there was a trade on the table before that no trade or no move clause was waived or exercised to cancel the trade or to nullify it, then you got to wonder how that information got out there in the first place. So I'm not begrudging Colin Parayko at all. I like, at the end of the day, the team negotiated the contract with the player. The player asked for this provision. It was given, and therefore they have every right to exercise it, whether we want entertaining trades or not.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't discount. I was a little surprised. Like, Buffalo's a team on the rise, but hey, that's why you sign it, because maybe he's like, I don't want to disrupt not that he's married, but maybe I don't want to disrupt myself in the during the season. We shall see. I wonder though if Buffalo, because clearly like they were ready to make a big splash, I wonder if they regroup and look at another team and see if there's another defenseman out there they can grab.
Yeah, and I hope that they are active. That's a market. I mean, look, we can all agree as hockey fans that the Buffalo market, once upon a time was among the greatest in the entire league in terms of regional coverage, and that has dwindled just due to playoff futility, being the New York Jets of the NHL at this point, neck and neck in terms of playoff droughts. And so to see that team thrive again and have a playoff run would be great. And so I hope that they're active at the trade deadline. I hope they get more pieces. I hope they continue to get solid goaltending, which has always been a concern for them, between UPL and Devin Levi and Eric Comrie and the other goalies that have gone in and out of that system, Alex Lyon. Hopefully that continues for them as well as they make a big playoff push.
The Foegele trade's interesting to me because the LA Kings, obviously it hasn't been working out with Foegele this year for them in LA. Had a really good year last year. Now he goes to Ottawa. The Senators in the Eastern Conference, like there's no team that's been let down by goaltending more than Ottawa. That all the numbers back it up. Their goaltending has been good. Now lately, it actually has been better. And they're 6 points back of Boston. There's 22 games left in the season for the Sens and the Bruins and the Blue Jackets. Bruins have 73. Blue Jackets have 70. The Senators have 67. The Capitals are in there, but they played 3 more games, so they're in tough. Who do you like out of there? And are you concerned at all about Montreal, who's slowly, not a big fall, but slowly allowed those teams to close the gap?
I'm not concerned about Montreal. I think that they're a team that's going to pick it right back up. I see them as making it into the playoffs. I think Boston is another team like that. I think they'll get some good goaltending from Swayman down the stretch. I think they have some really great pieces that are going to step up for them. Their top line on paper is dynamite and on many nights is among the elite first lines in the NHL. You have a 50-goal pace for Morgan Geekie, which is unbelievable, and David Pastrnak predicted that at the start of the season. I look at a team like Ottawa, exactly to your point, and that goaltending, if it continues, they'll contend. If it doesn't, then they're going to regress and they're going to fall out of a playoff position. And the LA Kings are going to be interesting too. I mean, what happens? They trade for Artemi Panarin, they make these moves, and they suddenly slip from playoff contention. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And it's also interesting, just the Eastern Conference, right? Like the amount of points that those Eastern Conference teams have, compare that to the Pacific Division. Not to heap onto the Oilers fan base at all. I'm just saying, like it's a gauntlet in the East, particularly in the in that middle where people are fighting for wild card spots.
Yeah, the East has it. The West, mainly in the Pacific Division, because now Utah's in the wild card race for sure with 68 points. They went out and got Mackenzie Weegar, but the Pacific Division is very close. Like the LA Kings, I think, are on life support. Literally, I think they might be a week away unless they win 3 in a row of being unofficially out of it. But the Sharks, the Kraken, the Ducks, teams that haven't been in the playoffs. I know the Kraken made it once, but the Sharks and Ducks specifically haven't been in there in a long time. Do you think either one of them take a swing here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the Kraken, to me, I feel like they must feel like they're in the hunt, and they've been winning a lot of playoff style games. Like, how many 40-point players do they have? Do they have any? Like, they're in an area where they have like a lot of scoring by committee, but also very low scoring games. Like they might have 120 goal scorer, Eberle, but beyond that, like it's crazy what they've been able to do, and they definitely need a goal scorer. And I wonder what they'd be able to pick up at the trade deadline. We saw the reporting of them wanting the offer that they made to Panarin, and Panarin going to LA instead. So I would pick them as the team to be active. But if LA already made a move for Panarin, I can't imagine they're not looking to bolster, because, like you said, they are on life support and they need something.
Yeah, very much so. Tampa Bay, are they the best team in the NHL?
I took Colorado, but I mean, Tampa's it could be 1 and 2. I still give the edge to Colorado, especially when the goaltenders are humming. I just feel like they have more top-heavy elite talent. Maybe Colorado does, led by McCarr and McKinnon. But I mean, Tampa's. I would say that Tampa is just incredible, the run that they've had in the last several years and how they've been able to remain at that level. And they could absolutely get out of the East. And, you know, it's truly impressive. The John Cooper era is truly remarkable.
Well, it just shows you when you have elite players that, yeah, you know what, you're not going to win every year, because it's impossible to win every year. But you look at how long they're in, and Vasilevsky and Hedman. And one thing Tampa's done that some other top contenders didn't do is Tampa Bay, Julian Brisebois, didn't get stuck with emotions. He said, Steven Stamkos, you were a great player for us. We don't think you're going to be a great player moving forward. And they moved on from him. And, they moved on from Sergachev and other guys who played huge roles for them winning the cup. And they stayed competitive, and now they're right back to being one of the top teams. Because I look at even Florida. I think Florida's fell in love with some of their core guys, and I know this year there's injuries, but I look down the road, they don't have a ton of room to maneuver, and I think that's a concern. And Brisebois has done a great job of removing emotion from his decisions.
And to your point, like the Florida Panthers, I don't think their window is closed. I think that a full summer would suit them very well. And let's be honest, like a major part of the reason why the Panthers are in the position they're in is because they missed Barkov for the whole season, right? Like if nothing else, this just shows you how important Sasha Barkov is as a two-way player for the Florida Panthers, but also how elite he is in the NHL. It's almost like people sort of know that, but like this is another proof of concept for that point. And obviously we will have, at least one eye on Sergei Bobrovsky. Is it possible that he gets moved in the next 24 hours? He is an older trending, he's an older goaltender. What will his trends be in the next few years? Do Florida decide they want to run it back with him and a healthy crew and a full summer off? Like, I do believe that their window is not closed quite yet, the Panthers, but they could use a good summer.
Yeah, very true. Bobrovsky will be a fascinating one to see what happens with him. And I look at Montreal, man. I think Montreal's got to take a swing for a goalie. They got a pretty good team, and they need a goaltender.
And that goaltender is going to be Sergei Bobrovsky. And the trade's going to happen imminently while we're on the phone, as we just talked all about Sergei Bobrovsky and the Montreal Canadiens. Awesome. You wait and see.
Well, hey, we've talked.
We're going to get it. We're going to get enough.
Yeah, Craig Button brought it up on our show last week. He thought that's the team that should go after him, and we'll see. They've got some young goalies if they want to dangle one of them back in return, and that'll be fascinating to see what the Habs do. I think there's lots of teams here that are going to make some moves in the next 21 hours and change. Arda, thanks for this. We appreciate it. Enjoy the deadline.
Anytime. Thanks.
There you go. Arda Ocal from ESPN. So, I count 10 teams that I think are still going to make some moves. Tampa Bay, you can never rule out Julian Brisebois. He always makes a significant move. Right? And I think Julian Brisebois, remember when they traded for Tanner Jeannot and people lost their minds because he gave up 5 draft picks. Has it hurt their team at all? Right? Not every swing is going to turn into a home run. It's not. But you take one and then you look at it doesn't work. Okay, we move on. Right? They're not all going to be great. But Tampa Bay is still pretty good. And I think the Buffalo Sabres, they obviously try to take a big swing in Parayko. Can they regroup, step back in the batter's box and take another one? We'll see. What about Detroit? Montreal, they're all in the same division. What about the Boston Bruins? The Columbus Blue Jackets making some deals. And then you got Anaheim and Seattle, Carolina, Pittsburgh. There's lots of teams that it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, they do down the stretch here. It's been very quiet around Nazem Kadri, which I just wonder if a team's going to take a swing at him. Calgary Flames, they're obviously open for business to sell off. They got rid of Uyghur. What can they get for Kadri? We'll see. We'll take a quick break. And hey, trade deadline is here. Also, speed things up next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Welcome to Silent Ice Center, the region's newest hockey and event center in Nisku. Featuring 2 NHL-size ice surfaces, premium seating, private suites, and an electric atmosphere. From elite hockey to major tournaments, concerts, and special events, this is where the action lives. And with Summit Restaurant overlooking the rink, every event is a full experience. Silent Ice Center, built for champions, built for the community. Book your ice, your event, or your next big night at Silent Ice Center. Email booking at silenticecenter.com.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
Remember 2025? That's so last year. But seriously, St. Albert Dodge needs to clear some 2025 models off the lot to make room for new inventory. So they're having a huge clear out of all the remaining new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Saharas. The Sahara package is the best seller, so they have a great selection to choose from and priced from as low as $59.9. I don't have to tell you, these are going to go fast. So get there before they are gone. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Measles outbreaks are occurring in Canada, including Alberta. These outbreaks are highly preventable. Measles is an extremely contagious disease that is spread easily through the air. The best way to protect yourself, your family, and your community is to ensure you are up to date with your immunizations. Don't get measles. Get immunized. Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Commissioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Industrial Auctions are next Thursday and Friday at 9 a.m. These major events include multiple lanes selling a large section of multi-purpose trucks, equipment, and commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
For 347, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show. As always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in Alberta. PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, NHL trade deadline. Getting closer. If you missed it, some deals this hour. Fogle is going to, that's Warren Fogle, going to Ottawa for a second rounder to the Kings. And Bunting goes from Nashville to Dallas for a third rounder. I haven't seen if there's any salary retention or anything in those deals, so we'll see where it goes. Now, trade deadline's on. Also, baby, racing is back. As we get to the Racing Report, brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at Cantork.com. Colin Livingston joins us once again, and we had racing in St. Petersburg, IndyCar. Let's start with, we always talk, usually, I know you're a big fan of IndyCar and you like it, but being a driver yourself, at times you can be fairly honest on the state of some drivers. What do you make of Stingray Robb?
First of all, he is right. Racing is back. Winter feels like it's over. It's beautiful outside, like +5 on the way over here. Simply put, Stingray Robb, anyone who follows IndyCar, they previously followed Indy Next. They know who he is. He does not belong in an IndyCar. Like, he is
just too aggressive.
No, he just doesn't have the skill to drive the car. He doesn't use his head. He doesn't seem to understand when you're starting the race, your tires are cold. You're not going to have the same amount of grip. And when the field's really packed up on lap 1, you got to use a little bit of judgment. Now, if this was his first year, Mick Schumacher is making his first race, made his first race with Ray Hall Letterman on the weekend. He managed to put his car in the right place, even though he's never raced without tire warmers before. He's never driven, a car without power steering like an Indy car, and managed to put his car in the right place. And then just firing up the right side, coming into turn 4, Stingray Robb. I mean, he was 30 miles an hour faster than he should have been, and just bowled his way through 2 cars. Like, at some point, he's able to fund the ride, which seems to be the biggest requirement for a lot of these drivers, is as long as they have the money, they get the, they get the license. But it's getting to be time where IndyCar really needs to look at making sure that there's at least a minimum driving standard, enforced.
How would you enforce that? What would qualify for the standard?
Like F1, they've got a point system.
Okay.
You create a number of incidents. But generally in IndyCar, their marshaling is done by former drivers. So there's guys like Max Pappas, as a race director, or as a steward. These guys can watch and know, look, this, for now, again, Stingray's 4th season in IndyCar. He's not a rookie anymore. He should have a better idea of what he's doing. And it just seems like either he just doesn't care, or he doesn't have the ability to judge these situations. So at some point you've got to take a look and say, this just ain't for you.
Okay. What about the Scott Dixon error? His, looks like they didn't properly tighten the right rear during the pit stop. It came off and it ends his race. So I don't, lots of guys who work in the pits. Is that just you're not putting it on tight enough? How does that happen?
Because the nut, you could actually see in the replay, the same section that Stingray Robb created that incident is where Dixie had his incident. So he came out of turn 3, he's going down. It's a short straightaway, but you could see he could feel it in his steering wheel. Did the absolute best thing, made sure that he didn't turn the wheel, did a braking in a straight line. The wheel comes off, and on the replay, you can see the nut is bouncing along. So the only thing I can think that happened is the nut maybe got a little cross-threaded, which is really tough on these center lock wheels for that to happen. The crew guy either just didn't pay attention, just didn't feel what was going on, because for a nut to come off like that is pretty impossible. But obviously it happened, so they just didn't get it on. And, unfortunately for Scotty D, that ended the day.
Now, I know you're not You know, I'm the biggest fan lately of NASCAR just because they allow way too much non-racing.
How do you know that?
To go on. Well, you know, you want to get Livingston fired up. Just talk about it. But you actually did try. You're like, I'll give it another try. You watch the Craftsman's trucks, and it's really kind of the same old, same old.
Yeah. I don't want to be too critical of the broadcast. I'm just going to say it wasn't great listening to the trio that they had put together for the race, but my goodness, I understand, like, and I love truck racing. Like, when I got to, when I was really into the NASCAR world and watching those guys go around, short tracks, it was awesome. There was nothing quite like it because they were able to, they would make contact. They would kind of slide up into each other. They would bump, but they would very, very, very rarely crash each other. And now the series has kind of devolved to, like, if you're not blocking 100% of the corner, a truck from, 3 cars back, they're just going to throw, like, if you're running on the racing line, somebody comes up the inside, they have no chance of making the corner. They're not even trying to stop. They just drill you out of the way. They keep going. It was, I want to say it was unwatchable, but I kept watching because once I was into it, I couldn't look away. I really tried to keep an eye on what was going on with, our old buddy James Hinchcliffe and Dario Franchitti, obviously former IndyCar drivers that they got contracted to run the race. Again, my big thing is I like to see driving talent. I like to see where 2 drivers can go side by side through a corner with, I don't want to say without making contact, but, with minimal contact. A guy can make a pass without destroying the vehicle in front of you. And if your series doesn't allow for that, you don't really have much of a series. I mean, F1, they're not crashing into each other to make passes. Their aerodynamics make it tough. And this year with the energy recovery, it's going to be tough to make passes. IndyCar, there's some contact, and we already talked about Stingray, and that kind of stuff. But there were some great passes in that race, and the Indy NXT race, even some of the USF Pro 2000. Like, I watched a whole bunch of that last weekend, trying to keep up with who's coming up. And there's some great drivers, and that's the kind of stuff. It's like having a talented player like McDavid, but you can never showcase it because people are always grabbing him, and he's not getting the penalty called, but he can't show his skills.
Yeah, not ideal. F1 begins this weekend in Melbourne. But now, what do you make of the rumors about Aston Martin? They've only ran 2,100 kilometers in testing, and there's rumors they might start and park their cars as they don't have enough spare parts. What would be the point of that?
Well, they've even furthered that this morning, saying that their drivers are worried about permanent nerve damage because the cars are shaking so violently. Fernando Alonso said, and I might get the numbers wrong, he can do a maximum of 25 laps before he figures he's going to have permanent nerve damage because they're vibrating, and they're also getting like electrical shocks in the car. Lance Stroll said he could maybe only make it 15 laps. So don't expect an awful lot out of Aston Martin this weekend. That's for sure. I mean, their testing program was terrible. I think they were almost 2,000 kilometers shorter in testing than the next shortest team. Like, they weren't able to run at all. They weren't able to develop at all. And this is after all the big hoopla of bringing Adrian Newey over, reacquainting their deal with Honda, which again, I'm very surprised that Honda ever entered into a partnership with a team that has Fernando Alonso, because he was so vocal when he was at McLaren that they basically said that he could never drive a vehicle with a Honda engine ever again. So, I'll go on record and say, I believe that Fernando won't be able to keep his mouth shut as long as the car isn't being developed. And if that's the case, he won't finish out the year. That's my preseason prediction for Fernando.
Because he just can't handle it. He's too frustrated. I get it. That makes sense.
Honda, is Japanese. Their culture, as so many Asian cultures, is based on respect. Like, it's okay to say that there's an issue with a thing, and you can work on that, but he goes too far and he questions, like, he'll talk about how things suck and how the engines, the power's not there, and it'd be quicker if he gets out and walks and things like that. So if that repeats itself, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make it through the year.
All right. And lastly, Tagliani, what's about the FEL Radical series? What's going on here?
Brand new team. Man, my boy Tag, he does not do things in half measures, and he doesn't take baby steps. So this year, and just released this week, they're going to be launching a 6-car team. So it's basically going to be an arrive and drive type program with these Radicals, which are just awesome cars.
Okay.
They're not the biggest power car. They're not the best aerodynamic. They're not, but they've got a really, really great package. This is a really, really awesome stepping stone, for kids who are coming out of go-karts and aren't quite ready to go to the States. Because these cars are really light. They've got decent power, great aerodynamics. So you actually start to get a feel for what happens at speed, and really, really good brakes. So I've seen the renderings. I've seen what the team is going to be like. Like this is going to be a Formula One style experience. And, compared to, and this isn't I'm not passing judgment on the existing teams, but generally these guys show up, in a small car hauler, like what I have for my go-karts. They run the car out of there, maybe a 10 by 20 tent. This is going to be on a whole different level with, really great support, great mechanics, factory support. So yeah, really excited. I'll still be spotting for Tag and whenever he puts his helmet on. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, really looking forward. I mean, obviously it's going to be a busy year, but most of the Radical races overlap with our NASCAR Pinty's road course stuff. So we're going to be at the same venues anyway. And, she's going to be fun.
What's your thoughts on the YouTuber Cletus McFarland? Did you see that he signed the 3-race contract with RCR in the O'Reilly series? Parker was just wondering if you've followed that at all.
I've heard the name. It sound like you could not have a more NASCAR
Cletus McFarland.
name.
I'm like, is this a joke name?
Yeah, no, I don't know anything about it. Into the O'Reilly, so that's the that's the Xfinity series.
Yeah, in the O'Reilly series.
Yeah, new sponsor, but that was the Xfinity. Again, that's how disconnected I am. Yeah. I think I read that. I don't know anything about the guy, so I don't know what his experience is. I don't know, what.
It's interesting, just like a 3-race contract. Like I don't know how much you can really learn in 3 races.
But that's obviously not a top team. It's not like you're going to like Joe Gibbs or you're going to, and they have, it'll be a team that has inventory, meaning that they've got available cars. You manage to raise enough funds and you can generally put the deal together. I mean, we see that with a bunch of other teams, especially around Daytona and Talladega, where guys, our Canadian friends like Jason White, DJ Kennington will often go down to the States, put a deal together to run either in trucks or, DJ even ran in a cup race at the Daytona 500 a couple of years ago because he had sponsors that were willing to cover the cost, and, they went down and had a bunch of fun. So yeah, I have to apologize. That's one that's not on my radar.
All right. Cole, have yourself a wonderful Thursday. We will chat with you next week.
Look forward to it.
We'll have lots of F1 to discuss and more. It's the Racing Report brought to you by Cantork. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. If you're looking for food, healthy food, chef prepared, well, they got 200 meals for you to choose from. You can go in-store in Sherwood Park or West End Edmonton or online, and they'll deliver right to your door. Meals.loca.ca. Start eating better today.
The Sports 1440 update.
NHL trade deadline tomorrow. A few trades rolling in. Kings sending Warren Fogle to Ottawa for a second-round pick, while Michael Bunting going to Dallas. The Preds receive a third-round pick in return. Earlier today, Sharks firing Jet Root from the Canucks for Jack Thompson, while the Panthers sending Jeff Petrie to Minnesota for a conditional 7th-round pick. On the ice tonight, it gets going at 5. Rangers, Leafs, Mammoth, and Philly. Penguins host the Sabres. Panthers taking on the Jackets. The Jets will host Lightning. Sens in Calgary, and the Islanders taking on the Kings. In the association, Toronto back in action, taking on the Timberwolves just after 6 o'clock. You also got the Rockets and the Warriors. Mavs meet the Magic. Jazz taking on the Wizards, and the Nuggets hosting the Lakers. In the PWHL, New York will be in Boston. That one gets going in just under an hour, and the Buffalo Bills acquiring wide receiver DJ Moore and a 5th-round pick from the Chicago Bears for a 2nd-round pick. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll ask 5 questions and take a look at the Flames ahead of the deadline with Ryan Pike of Flames Nation. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
What a performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything's safe and sound before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Saturday at Rogers Place. Celebrate orange plastic tracks and the toy most likely to go through your washing machine. Don't miss the first ever Edmonton Oil Kings Hot Wheels game.
Be there as your Oil Kings crash and bash up the Medicine Hat Tigers.
There will be Hot Wheel car giveaways for the kids and more adrenaline-fueled fun.
And Calmont Kids food combos are $10 or less. The value is monster truck sized.
The Edmonton Oil Kings Hot Wheels game versus Medicine Hat, 7 p.m. Saturday.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
Smart, connected, community-driven. Jason Gregor sets the standard. Let's talk in
.ca.
Join the conversation on Sports 1440. Text Gregor 833-401-1440. Sports 1440.
1440.
Sports.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option.
It's always brought to that. Right?
Whether replacing or adding
Gus
to
and
your
more.
convoy, Edmonton Trailer
wonderful
has a huge inventory
Thursday.
of new
We will
semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance. When you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Every morning, you look in the mirror and see less of yourself. Hair loss can feel like losing a part of who you are.
But it doesn't have to be that way. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. At Advanced Hair and Skin Surgery, we understand the pain of hair loss. Our advanced hair restoration solutions won't just bring back your hair, they'll help you face the mirror with confidence.
Good morning, you sexy beast.
Visit drvanceelliott.com today because it's time to be the man you remember.
Mission Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Heavy Truck Auction is next Thursday at 9 a.m. with tandem and single axle trucks, including a special dispersal of 3 unused 2024 Kenworth T880 tandem cab and chassis trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
A claims program for harmed Canadians has begun as a result of a landmark tobacco settlement. If you smoked regularly before November 20th, 1998, and were diagnosed with lung cancer, throat cancer, emphysema, or COPD, you may qualify for a significant payment. To learn more, call 888-482-5852 or go to tobaccoclaimscanada.ca.
Mission Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Industrial Auctions are next Thursday and Friday at 9 a.m. These major events include multiple lanes selling a large section of multi-purpose trucks, equipment, and commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by eWell, helping you finish your electrical project is their goal, from pot lights to electrical panels. The gear you need is at ewell.ca or in person at one of their Edmonton area locations. ewell.ca, your partners in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Four o'clock. How are you? Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely, lovely Thursday afternoon. Of course, we are now under 21 hours from the trade deadline, and there's still lots of teams that I think are looking to make moves, likely to make a move, and we'll see. We'll see where it goes. The Edmonton Oilers, I don't think there's anything major coming. I could still see another depth addition. I'm just not sold. They want two young guys as their 12th and 13th forwards right now. I'd be surprised. Now, hey, you know what? Maybe that means that Adam Henrique gets pushed to number 13. I'd be a little surprised by that, at least to start. But the coach talked about it again. They like him and Savoy as a penalty killing unit. You also have Dickinson as a penalty killer. Now, we mentioned him in Kapanen. Dickinson should be your number one forward penalty killer with not even a question. Like, they played the exact same system in Chicago as they do in Edmonton. So there's he's got to get used to the system here. Dickinson's been an elite penalty killer for a long time. Put him on the damn first unit penalty kill. This should not, I don't care what your other pairs are. I'm sorry, I don't. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, okay, we're going to spread everybody out. No, Dickinson should be the guy right away. Like, he's been playing the exact same system in Chicago and dominating at it. And him and Murphy together. I know one's a defenseman, one's a forward. Start the penalty kill with those two on there. That's 50% of the best penalty killing unit. They've got chemistry built in automatically. They can figure it out with the other guys. That's what I'd be doing. If Dickinson's not on the first unit PK, I'd be like, what the bleep is going on? That would be a strange decision for me. Strange decision. So there you go. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We'll get to our, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to get to the stats of the day. Brought to you by All-Star Construction. Not only do they help build and develop Edmonton communities, they are also big at giving back in the community. They support the Grey Withers ladies curling team, also big supporters of Kids for Cancer, and the Wellspring Alberta Edmonton House, which is a cancer center treatment. That is All-Star Construction. The stat that I want to get to, because I saw online, and hey, online, I've learned that online is just online. It definitely doesn't represent the majority of people. I actually think it represents more of the minority, to be completely truthful. There's lots of people who have an X account or others that rarely post. They just follow it because they want to get information. Great. But there's a lot. Oh, I can't believe the Oilers gave up a first rounder for Dickinson. So let's clarify a few stats. Number one, they didn't just get Dickinson. This is what the trade was. They gave up a first, and they got Chicago to take Mangiapane and his $3.6 million that Edmonton didn't want. Dickinson's half of his salary they retained, so it gives them some cap space. Well, actually, so the trade can be made. They also got Doc, and they got Dickinson. So that's what they gave up for a first rounder. Chicago retains salary. They take on $3.6 million, and they give up Doc. So two players. It's not a terrible trade, especially when you look at the odds. I don't look at, it's not going to be a top 10 pick, right? Unless somebody out there thinks the Oilers are going to absolutely tank next year. In the first year of Connor McDavid's extension contract, the Oilers are going to tank, not make the playoffs. I would need to see some rational reasoning why that happens. And even if they did, let's say they tank, well, guess what? It's protected pick for next year. So it would be top 12 protected. Okay, so even if they tank, then they still own the pick. So number one. Number two, does anybody believe the Oilers are going to, in McDavid's first year, tank next year? I don't think so. I think the Oilers will be hard-pressed to be as inconsistent next regular season as they have been for this first 60 games. I also think the Oilers are going to find some consistency here. I honestly think next week is going to help the Oilers because you play good teams. Vegas, Colorado, Dallas, and Carolina starting tomorrow. And they'll say, hey, we gotta get things straight here because you don't want to get embarrassed. Remember last time they played Dallas? Dallas put up 8 on them. Then the Oilers like, okay, that's embarrassing. And then they just decided to suddenly play defense for 25 games. It's a wild thing, but it's true. But here's some numbers for you. So first of all, I was looking at Colby Dock. And people are like, he's just this. How can anyone say after 78 games, you know for certain what Doc is going to be? How can you say that? You can't with any sort of fact. You can make a guess and say, that's what I think. Okay, but that's what you think. It doesn't mean that's what you know, right? It's very different. Very different. So, there's lots of different players. Zach Hyman's first year, and he was an older player. First year in the league, he scored 10 goals. Right? Now, who would have thought after, 82 game season, by the way, Zach Hyman scored 10 goals. Who would have said after the 2017 season that 7 years later, he'd be a 50-goal scorer? No one. Right? No one would have said it because you don't know. Guys who work hard, they develop. Zach Hyman was a 5th-round pick. Right? Doc's a 2nd round. Right? Now, would I say Doc's going to score 50 goals? Hell no. I would never make that prediction. But I'm not going to sit here and say that all he's going to be is a crash and banger. But even if, let's say, that's all he is, and he's a regular 4th-line player who contributes to your team, is physical, plays with an edge, how's that bad? They don't have that guy. It fills a role that they have. And then you get to Dickinson. And this is where I think Oilers fans should be quite excited about Dickinson. So Dickinson he's only played 47 games for Chicago, had a minor injury. But in the games he's played, basically he plays 49% of his time against elite players because he can handle it. And in those minutes, 276, he was only on the ice for 10 goals against. Compare that to Draisaitl in 315 minutes, was on for 16 goals against. Right? You look at Adam Henrique. Adam Henrique's played 111 minutes. He's kind of their 3rd-line center. He's played 111 minutes. He's on for 6 goals in 111 minutes against. Right? Like Dickinson is going to be a player who the Oilers can say, guess what? Now, is McDavid and Draisaitl still probably going to play the most against elites? Most likely, because they play the most minutes. And the other team's going to try to get their best guys out against them. But on home ice especially, the coach can say, hey, defensive zone start. The other team put out their top guys because it's an offensive zone start. I'll put Dickinson's line out. Because even if he loses the draw, I trust him. He's a very good defensive player. And if you can do that over a span of 8-9 shifts in a game, what that's going to mean is that Draisaitl and McDavid are going to have reduced minutes against elite players, which means they'll have an increase in minutes against mid to grind lines. So if all of a sudden, because if you have McDavid and Draisaitl on separate lines, and Dickinson's taken up, let's just say 4 minutes a game now against the other team's top line. That's 4 minutes that Draisaitl and McDavid don't have to play against them. That's 4 minutes now that they're either playing the other team's 3rd line or 4th line. Because one of them is probably going to get the 2nd line. Then the other one, that's 3rd or 4th. Because one of them gets 2nd line already. That's a massive potential mismatch. Now, that won't show up on Dickinson's stat line. You won't see all of a sudden McDavid, easier minutes, McDavid getting more points. But it is an exact result of the fact that the coach can say, hey, Dickinson, we know you're good at it. And if he's smart, he'll do it a lot. Right? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do it? You don't even have to reduce McDavid or Draisaitl's minutes that much. It's just now you have a 3rd-line center, which everybody's been clamoring for, a guy that you trust, defensively who's shown the numbers that he can do it. Because that's the key about this. It's not that he just plays the minutes. It's that he plays the minutes and he doesn't get scored on, right? He doesn't score a lot. That's valid. Chicago's not a very good team, right? But you look at Dickinson. So he was on the ice for 10 goals against in 276 minutes, right? Connor Bedard played 225. Teravainen, like they had lots of guys that just that aren't doing it a ton, right? So him and Mikheyev, right? And Mikheyev actually played even more minutes because he played every game. But that's a good situation to come into for the Oilers with Dickinson. And that's why getting upset about a 25th to 32nd pick, like I said, 36% in the decade from 2011 to 2020. I didn't go any later because lots of those guys still haven't even played 250 games. And you don't know if they're going to. Like Arthur Kaliev, he was drafted and he played, now he's less than 250 and he's kind of out of the league. But early on, it looked like, oh, this guy was going to play 250. And then boom, hit the wall. Didn't even get to 250. I don't think people should be that upset about giving up a 2027 late first round pick. Go follow Shane Malloy. And I've talked to Shane many times. He covers the draft maybe more in depthly than anybody else that I know for 25 years. And he follows up on the trends of what draft picks are. And he's the one who said many times that teams can overvalue, and in a lot of cases, fans can overvalue. When you hear first rounder, not all first, like you got to take a first round and then say, well, where is it? Is it a top 10 first rounder? Well, the percentages of that top 10 are much higher than a bottom 10 pick, right? And really now you got to kind of go into 11s because there's 32 picks, right? You can go 11, 11, you can go 10 and then 11 and 11 if you want to split it up that way. But look at the Oilers. All they have to do is win one playoff round, and then that pick's likely going to be in the high 20s in 2027, right? Or mid to high 20s. And those picks, you can find good players there, don't get me wrong. Look at the Oilers. They've got some guys, Trent Frederick, Jason Dickinson. They've been drafted there. So, yeah, but they're not dominant players. They're good NHL players. And if that pick becomes one in 2034, you're not going to worry if you're the Edmonton Oilers. You're just not. So, but I think people are overlooking, like, look what Toronto did. Toronto got a first and a fifth for Nick Roy and retained no salary. The Oilers got Chicago to retain salary, take off $3.6 million, and give up Doc for a first rounder. Look at Vegas, right? Vegas for their first rounder. I thought Washington did pretty good for Nick Dowd, but look what Vegas gave up compared to Edmonton. They gave up 2 picks and a goalie prospect. Right? Edmonton gave up a first and said, please take Mangiapane. Like, it's not even close, people. If you want to get mad at Bowman about the Jari trade, get in line because there's a lot of people and you're totally valid about that. But there's no stats and no numbers that will tell you that the Oilers overpaid for Dickinson based on the fair value of what happened literally in the last 24 hours. That's a comparison. We could look at guys from 5 years ago. Oh, look what this team did. I'm just looking at what happened in the last same day. Nick Roy. Toronto didn't retain any salary. Colorado took the full boat, and they gave up a first and a fifth. The Vegas Golden Knights took Nick Dowd. They gave up a third, a second, and Jesper Vikman. Now, I don't even know if Jesper Vikman's ever going to play. That might have just been hey, you got to take this guy to make the roster number work. That's probably what it is. But still, they gave up a third and a second. Edmonton gave up a first, but they got Doc, who honestly, in 5 years, that late first-round pick, Colton Doc might be even with that pick based on what he's done in a career. The fact he's already played 78 games, he's played more games and has more points than all the players in his draft class who were drafted 25th to 32nd. That's the last, 8 picks, because I'm thinking of a team who, where the Oilers, they make the playoffs, win around, right, based on the regular season, probably where there's going to be in 2027. So Doc's already in his draft class being ahead. Now it's early. Some guys can be later developers, totally fine. But I think you have to look at everything rather than just freak out when you hear first rounder. First rounder doesn't mean Guaranteed. Hey, Gregor, who signed Mangiapane? Bowman. Yeah, and think about it. He offloaded the bad contract. It didn't hurt him. He got Doc and Dickinson and got rid of the bad contract. What part don't you understand, Kenneth? This isn't hard, right? It isn't hard. I'm not shocked that you don't get it, but you're one of the few. Most others I would understand get it. You don't. I can't help you with that. Let's take a quick break. We'll return. Ryan Pike joins us. The Flames, they gave up Uyghur. They got a lot of second rounders for him, 3 of them. Obviously, they went with quantity over quality. Will it help them? And is Nazem Kadri getting moved? Blake Coleman, lots of people thought Blake Coleman's a lock to get traded. I could see him reunited in Tampa Bay. Wouldn't shock me. We'll find out next where he's going on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need, Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Whether it's a house, a gas station, an apartment complex, or any new building going up above ground, the work always starts below ground. And that's where you'll find GS Construction. GS Construction ensures the first step, relocating utilities, installing new ones, and building the underground systems, is taken to make progress possible. But the work can't start without you. GS Construction is currently on the lookout for experienced top men, pipe layers, and operators. To apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
NHL Star Sticks are back at McDonald's, and we're celebrating by going bigger.
Make that smaller, way smaller than ever before.
Collect the set and get one of 7 mini sticks with every NHL Star Sticks meal. Featuring McDavid, Matthews, Quinn Hughes, Makar, Celebrini, Reinhardt, and Montembeau. So get yours while they last. 1 stick per meal purchase. Limited time at participating Canadian restaurants.
From the first face-off, Sports 1440 is your home for hockey talk. With live coverage, expert analysis, and pre- and post-game shows, we bring you closer to the game. Tune in 24/7, only on Sports 1440, Edmonton's sports station.
When life unexpectedly changes, it can leave us feeling unbalanced, uncertain, and unsure of how to move forward. But you don't have to go through it alone. I'm Corey Anderson with Fairway Divorce Solutions. Our team helps reestablish balance, guiding you through your divorce with compassion, clarity, and support. Fairway has helped more than 6,500 families across Canada find a path towards a peaceful, fair resolution. With 2 offices in Edmonton, we're here to make your journey easier. Discover your options at Fairway Divorce.
The Price is Right Live is coming to Canada, and The Brick is a proud sponsor. Come on down to The Brick to win big this Saturday, March 7th from noon to 2. Join us at The Brick South Edmonton Common for your chance to instantly win from over $25,000 in prizes, including brick shopping sprees, TVs, Oilers tickets, and so much more. No purchase necessary. Some conditions apply. See in-store for contest details and exclusions. So come on down to The Brick South Edmonton Common this Saturday.
In like a lion or like a lamb, out like a goat. That's greatest offer of all time with Sherwood Honda. While there's plenty of goats on the lot, you can also custom order yours. Pick your Honda model with the color, interior, trim, and technology for the ride you've always wanted. Sherwood Honda can help you build and price your new Honda to make it the greatest order of all time. Pre-ordering sure would be simple and satisfying with help from Sherwood Honda.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Elks Nation. Check out elksnation.ca. Articles, podcasts, and more are breaking down the green and golds, the most in-depth W football coverage, elksnation.ca.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
428. Welcome back. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope you're having an awesome Thursday. Of course, trade deadline inching closer. Still waiting for the big deals. I'm wondering, what's St. Louis going to do? They obviously tried to get rid of Parayko. He said, no thanks, but no thanks. Buffalo tried to acquire him. Can they circle back on something else? We've heard Robert Thomas rumors. I know Robert Thomas was texting with a player in Edmonton, their buddies, and saying, man, I don't really know what's going on. So, you know what? It's an uncertain time for some players, no question about it. Nazem Kadri, one of those guys. What are the Penguins going to do? What are the Montreal Canadiens going to do? Are they going to get a goalie? There's lots of questions. Should be a fun next 21 hours. Well, actually less than 21 hours to see what's going to happen as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and the NHL Star Sticks are back. And get one of 7 mini sticks with every Star Sticks meal and collect all your favorite players for a limited time only at participating McDonald's. As Ryan Pike from Flames Nation joins us. Piker, how you doing, man?
It's been a busy day. It feels like it's sort of the calm between storms, but you never know. I mean, there was a period of time where everything we heard from the insiders on social media was, oh, it's a seller's market, the prices are terrible, and then 36 hours later it was, oh, it's a buyer's market, the prices are sky high. So yeah. It's the old saying, you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. It seems like that's how it is with prices. So we'll see what happens. It always, the last 12 hours for the deadline always seems to be a bit of a frenzy. So we'll see how it lines up.
Now, Coleman was the one player that when it all started, people thought he was the most likely to get moved. And I know he hasn't been moved yet, but I still think he's going to. I think there's going to be a lot of teams that are interested in him. Hearing is Tampa Bay a reunition there? Is there any teams that you're hearing are a landing spot for him?
I mean, there's always a few. I think Tampa always feels like one because, he seems to fit a lot of what they want to do and what they have been doing the last few years. I think everyone's always assuming Dallas will figure out a way to do it since he's from the Dallas area. And, being able to play in his home state is probably something that he'd love to do at some point. But I'm at the point now where, if you had told me 24 hours ago, hey, hold on to your socks, Utah of all teams is going to get Mackenzie Weegar, I would have been very confused. And yet they're the ones that stepped up. So I think there's always a team or two that you're sort of just lying in wait, and then all of a sudden they pounce. And in retrospect, you go, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know why I didn't see that. So for me, I'm kind of wondering if we're going to be surprised by another team.
That's always valid. What about Kadri? How realistic do you think that is?
That's a good question. I think the big challenge is what if I'm another team and I want to acquire him. I'm going, really love the player. Term kind of scares me a bit. I don't know how the last year or two of that deal is going to look. So can you retain? And can you retain as much as humanly possible? If I'm the Flames, I'd rather not be paying upwards of $3 million to pay a guy to not play for me. And so I think there's always been that tension of, not just the Flames, but I think any ownership group, how much juice is worth the squeeze? How much are you willing to retain? And how much do you think you can get back for it? Because, hell, by the end of that thing, the Flames are hoping, that they're starting to be on the upswing, like maybe a year or two of, not all that great, and then a bit of an upswing in the second, third year of that new building. And so do you want to be throwing a lot of money at guys who aren't playing in your team? That's one of the things that really hamstrung them during the True Living years of just, retention and buyouts, and having the flexibility going forward is really big to them. So at this point, I'm doubtful, but I also said that on TV that I didn't think Mackenzie Weegar was going to get traded. And then within 12 hours, he was on another team. So at this point, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think there's a lot of complexities between his age, between the term he has left, and, the fact that if you're the Flames, any team that's trying to get Blake Coleman is probably trying to twist your arm into retaining too. And so I think you're always going to have that tension of, teams that are trying to get Coleman, trying to play teams that are trying to get Kadri off each other in order to try to get the Flames to retain on the one that they want. So I think there's multiple games of chess going on simultaneously right now, and they all impact each other in a lot of really interesting ways.
Yeah. There is like the St. Louis Blues are fascinating to me because I have no proof on this, but when I just look at it rationally and I look at that Colton Parayko situation, the fact that the trade got leaked out, before he agrees to it, like I don't see how, his agent would never do it. I don't see the benefit to Buffalo do it. To me, it's like St. Louis, hey, let's got to get it out there, put some pressure on the player. And like, I just don't like that move for teams. I'm not saying Calgary did it with Weegar, but it is odd that, these things get leaked out before the guy ever, has to agree to it. Like, just keep your powder dry. Why do you have to make it go public?
Yeah, I feel bad for the players too. Cause like, I tweeted about this the other day, just the idea that, part of the package that teams dangle to players to get their cap hits down is, they try to go heavy on bonuses because they're taxed differently, and they try to throw clause after clause after clause at them. And a lot of that was done in a flat cap environment where teams are like, okay, I'd rather give you a no trade clause and then deal with it later than pay an extra $500,000. Let's do this thing. And players were more than happy to accept it, and teams were more than happy to give it to them. But then it seems like there's always a little bit of hand-wringing on the team side. Not the Flames specifically, but I think in general, if I had to deal with players with no move clauses, no trade clauses, I'd be kind of apprehensive about it. At the same time, they bargained for them in good faith and they agreed to give it to them. So I don't know. It's there's a lot of parts of it that I don't love, and I feel kind of awkward for the players. Like, Tyler Myers is the exception where, like, because he was held out, everyone kind of knew what was going on there, and it was really, it was nobody's fault that it got out. It's just the way things happen. But the last couple ones makes you go like, okay, this is kind of awkward. I don't really think it is very fun for anybody involved in them.
Yeah. No, I think that's totally valid. Is there anybody else in Calgary you think could be moved other than Kadri and Coleman?
Oh, Lord. I would say teams, there are a lot of reports about teams kicking tires on Zach Whitecloud, but I think the Flames really like him, so they'd have to knock their socks off with an offer to get him off their books. I think if you're looking for depth, I have a feeling that teams will be sort of gauging price tags on guys like Ryan Lomberg, Joel Hanley. But that Joel and Braden Pahal, Lomberg has a Stanley Cup ring. He's sort of 12th, 13th, 4th on the Flames depth chart right now. They have a lot of young guys coming up, but he's also a guy that really loves playing for the team, really loves the area, and so if they keep him, I think he's going to be value for them. If they move on from him, I think they'll get value for him. But I think they're trying to do what they can to open up some spots from the younger players, and not just this year, but going forward, because I think they have a lot of young guys. Like last 3 years, they made 24 draft selections. They have someone like after the Weegar trade, I think they have like 8 picks in the first 3 rounds of this year's draft. So they're gonna have to sort of move some guys out or move some guys up in order to keep things from getting too much of a logjam. And so I think a lot of the moves they're making at the NHL level are specifically with that kind of thing in mind, to sort of create a younger environment and create a competitive environment.
Yeah, like 8 picks in the first 3 rounds, like sounds great, but it's hard to bring them all in at one time on a 50-man roster. And, so you maybe use some of those trades for what you have to do is turn those trades into teams who are looking to dump a player because of cap and who's a good player. And you say, okay, here's a second rounder, right? Boom, we'll take them off your hands. And that's how you can make the draft picks work for you. Because using all 8 picks, I think would end up being a waste. Because it's 8 picks in 1 year, and the odds that all of them hit, or even half of them hits, pretty low.
Yeah, and I think everyone who covers a non-playoff team has been sort of spamming Tankathon of the last few weeks to sort of see how the top handful of draft picks look. And, if you're a Flames team that maybe you fall in love with, Ivar Stenberg, maybe you fall in love with Keaton Verhoff, maybe you fall in love with Gavin McKenna, if you maybe aren't number 1, 2, 3 in the draft order, you're 4 or 5, having all these picks gives you some ammunition to potentially move up and get the guy you fell in love with. And, I don't think they're going to be making 8 picks. My guess is they would prefer to make 3 or 4 picks. So how do they get the idealized 3 or 4 picks they want with the many, many draft selections they have available?
Yeah. Give me your thoughts. What do you think of the Oilers deals?
Not bad. I mean, my big thing that always flummoxes me is like I like Jason Dickinson, but I think they have so many like guys that can do similar things that I don't really understand sort of utilizing the assets in that way to get that kind of player. I still don't love Edmonton's goaltending. And I still think, maybe a different mix of the blue line group would have helped out a bit more, but I don't know. It's one of the things where, we all say, maybe I would have done different things, but if the chemistry is there and it all clicks, then it all works out. It's the kind of thing where, as well as anyone, these deals will not be evaluated in March. These deals will be evaluated in June. And if they're playing into June, I think people will look at, the moves they made and really love them. But if things end with anything but a parade, I think every single move and non-move will be second guessed.
Yeah. I look at you can look at players with or without term, and only one team can win. I just look and say, okay, what do the other teams give up? Roy's a third line center, Dowd's a third line center, right? Toronto gave up a first and a fifth. They didn't retain any salary. Colorado gave up a first and a fifth. Vegas gave up a second and a third. Edmonton gave up a first, and they got Doc, and they got Dickinson, and they got him to retain a bunch of even 50%. Never even mind Mangiapane. They got him to retain 50% on Dickinson. So I don't mind the trade. And if Dickinson resigns, which history tells you in a lot of cases, pretty good chance. Like the guy, he's made it to the Cup final once back in 2020. It hasn't been in the playoffs since. I think players, once they're out of the playoffs, they don't know how much they miss it till they get back in, and then they're like, damn, I want to try that again. And I think most people look at the Oilers and say, at bare minimum, they're a playoff team for the next few seasons. And you're right about their goaltending. That's, I think, a different a conversation, and one that trade has not worked. And I will say that the Jari trade is the one that's going to be critiqued infinitely more than either one of the even one of the Murphy or the Dickinson deal, because Stuart Skinner, yeah, he had some warts, but he also bounced back. Jari has yet to bounce back, and he better soon, or they'll be in trouble.
Yeah, and especially just the idea of I'm biased. I covered Brett Kulak's first few years of his career here. I saw him a lot when he was up north. Really good player, and I don't really understand moving out a player like that and then realizing, oh no, you miss him, and then expending assets to get a lesser version, arguably, of that player. So I don't know. It seems like a couple of the trades that were made were trying to hit the reset button on some of the aspects of earlier trades, but it's one of those things where it's really hard to hit the undo button once things get going, and especially again with the whole chemistry, Kulak had a lot of mojo with that group, and trying to replicate that with other people, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
The Tampa Bay Lightning, how big of a swing do you think they make in the next 21 hours?
I don't know. With them, it's always like, with what assets? But we always say every year, like clockwork, what assets? And then Julien Brisebois finds a way to get creative and make things happen. So I think based on just history, even though I don't know what assets they have to work with, I would say they're going to at least try to make a moderate splash, because they're always around it. And I think they're a team that, we always joke every year, okay, banners fly forever, figure it out in the summer. But every year, even if they fall short, they figure out a way to regroup and figure out a way to keep renewing their system in different ways. So, I think at the very least, they're going to make some mid-level moderate moves, but they're always one of those teams sort of like Vegas, sort of waiting in the background, and a team that always finds a way to do something impressive.
Piker will say, quick guess. Kadri, Coleman, both gone, one gone, none gone.
Coleman gone. Kadri will be done after the draft.
Yeah, I think it's more of a summer trade too. I would agree with you on Kadri. So unless because that's just too much cap space, it's hard to manage that, I would think, during the season. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Have yourself a great day.
Cool. Stay hydrated tomorrow.
Yeah, you bet. That's Ryan Pike from Flames Nation. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got 5 questions and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Booster Juice is going crazy for hazelnuts.
No, not crazy. Nuts.
Booster Juice is going bananas for hazelnuts.
I mean, there are bananas in smoothies, but that's not the point.
Banana juice is booster for hazelnuts.
What? Just stop.
Booster Juice is going nuts for hazelnut. Introducing the Nutty Monkey Smoothie, Holy Hazelnut Acai Bowl, and Nutty Booster Ball, all made with rich, creamy hazelnut spread. Try them today, only at Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Edmonton's go-to station for all things sports is Sports 1440.
From Low Tide to Kevin Carriott and Jason Gregor, we deliver the latest on your favorite teams.
Tune in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
To Sports 1440.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Mission Rail and Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved heavy truck auction is next Thursday at 9 a.m. with tandem and single axle trucks, including a special dispersal of 3 unused 2024 Kenworth T880 tandem cab and chassis trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
A claims program for harmed Canadians has begun as a result of a landmark tobacco settlement. If you smoked regularly before November 20th, 1998, and were diagnosed with lung cancer, throat cancer, emphysema, or COPD, you may qualify for a significant payment. To learn more, call 888-482-5852 or go to tobaccoclaimscanada.ca.
Mission Rail and Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved industrial auctions are next Thursday and Friday at 9 a.m. These major events include multiple lanes selling a large section of multi-purpose trucks, equipment, and commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers' push to the playoffs is on, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and play, score, and win every game. See more at OnTheRocksYEG.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
We are rolling through getting closer to the trade deadline. Of course, tomorrow at 1 o'clock Edmonton time. Stan Bowman said doesn't expect anything significant, thinks they might be done. When I look at the roster and everything else, you got two guys who are, well, technically three in Savoy, but he's obviously going nowhere. But Szymanski and Doc, you have two players who are still on their entry-level deals. And, 78 games for Doc. Szymanski hasn't even played 10 NHL games. Do you want those guys as your 12th and 13th forward? Probably not. Right? If they're not in the lineup regularly, you want them in the minors. But in order for that to happen, you need another player here. So I won't be shocked if the Oilers have, another depth forward coming. We'll see how it goes. They do have 415 cap space, but really they have more than that because if you send down Szymanski, that's 975. So they have more than enough cap space to take on a player. It's just a matter of what would be the cost and who would it be. It probably has to be a veteran guy who's comfortable, maybe not playing a ton, just good in the room. And you don't want to have a guy complaining that he's not playing. So you'd have to do a little bit of research on that. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick. As coming up this Saturday, The Brick South Edmonton Common, your chance to win over $25,000 in prizes, including Brick shopping sprees, order tickets, and more. Check it out at The Brick South Edmonton Common.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. Puckpedia put it out there. The Oilers could make some moves, create just over $2.2 million in cap space. Do you think the Oilers should try and make something happen with that money?
Yeah, sure. Now, there are some things you always have to account for. Because someone asked, hey, could the Oilers just send Doc to the minors and bring up Max Jones? They could now. If they wanted to, right? Because Doc is 825, Jones is $1 million, so you could do that now easily because you have the cap space to make that change, right? Because they have $475K, that's 175, so they'd have 3. So you could do that and have him maybe as an extra body around rather than a young guy doing it. So there's that option. Could they look at goaltending? Yeah, I'm just not sure how you do it, right? Would St. Louis, who seems to be making any moves, this is my question to you. Would you trade Jari for Binnington straight up?
Me or the listener?
You.
Yeah, I would.
You would do it. Okay. So you take on a little bit more cap space, but Edmonton would have the room to do that.
Yeah, I've been on board for that. after the Olympics, I said it. I'm like, I don't know what Tristan Jarry will be in the playoffs. I don't know what he's in the regular season. And even if Binnington is a little off in the regular season down the stretch, I think I have a pretty good idea of what he can be in the playoffs. So I would do it. Would you?
Well, yeah, what I've seen from Jarry, it'd be hard not to.
Yeah.
Right. Binnington has a track record. And I know that, Binnington's game at times doesn't fit perfect with Edmonton's style. But knowing that Binnington's going to let in a few softies, just be prepared. So, yeah. Now, would St. Louis do it? The difference is they save money in the cap, but they have 1 extra year of Jarry. That would be the point. I wonder how serious those conversations are.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Now, question number 2 for you. Only a few choices here, but of the new Oilers, which are you most looking forward to see tomorrow night?
Ooh. It's only 1 game, but I'd probably say Dickinson. I know Murphy's game a little bit better, so I'll say Dickinson.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, what a big piece he could be if he can be that third line center, play the defensive role. Really intrigued to see what he can do. Because like you, I think a little bit of a better idea of what Connor Murphy is, but Dickinson is the guy I had circled there as well. Question number 3 for you. After Colton Parayko declined the trade with the Buffalo Sabres. Now, he's under contract with St. Louis till 2029 at 2030. How much longer do you think he plays there?
Go ahead.
I'm curious. I guess, obviously, if I was his camp, I'd be pretty disappointed that the team, we assume, put that out there, that it was a thing. I'd be pretty mad that it happened. And that kind of shows, St. Louis obviously willing to part ways. I'll say finishes off the year, traded in the offseason.
Yeah, I think the fact that the team puts it out there that we want to trade you, I just don't know how long you want to stay in that organization. So I think this means that Parayko will be dealt this summer. If not, like being dealt before tomorrow is probably difficult, but I think in the summertime.
Yeah, I'm with you. Still plenty of time to make a move in the NHL with 20 plus hours left before the deadline. But is there a team that you think has been a little too silent?
Not at all. To me, it's that until you get to the deadline, you have time to make a move. You don't get bonus points for making a trade earlier. The only advantage is if your team's playing on Friday night, like the Edmonton Oilers, if they make a trade tomorrow, that player's probably not going to get into Edmonton in time to play the game. But you know what? They've got Murphy, they've got Doc, they got Dickinson. They're already here, right? So if you look at like Carolina, for instance, right? The Carolina Hurricanes haven't really made a move yet, and they play in Edmonton tomorrow. Now it's only one game, but that's the only negative that I can see by waiting to not make a deal, right? Because tomorrow there's more games than I thought, right? Florida's in Detroit, Colorado's in Dallas, Vancouver's in Chicago, Hurricanes are in Edmonton, Canadians are in Anaheim, Wild are in Vegas, and the Blues are the Sharks. So there's actually like more games than normal on a trade deadline day. So that would be my only negative. But you don't get negative points because if you make a really good trade, but you didn't do it until noon, I don't care. Just if you make a good trade, as long as you make it before 1:00.
Yeah, I mean, I said earlier this week, I hoped that the Oilers would get on that as soon as possible, get the guys as soon as they could. And, every game matters for the Oilers. So to have Murphy and Dickinson play tomorrow, I think is very good for them. Carolina's a good pick, but I kind of like the Anaheim Ducks. I don't know if they want to rock the boat. Maybe they just want to roll with what they have and the chemistry they built with this team. But I really like that Ducks team. So I wouldn't mind seeing them make a move at the very least for the Duke's sake. Final question for you. On this day in 2015, American Crime debuted. I've never seen the show, but I want to ask you, what is your go-to crime show these days?
Go ahead.
I haven't watched too many of the newer crime shows, to be totally honest with you. Like there was a new kind of cold case files on Netflix I was dabbling in just a little bit, similar to almost like Unsolved Mysteries. But the one that, always gets me, Law and Order. And it doesn't matter if it's an old one or a new one. I love this show. They always suck you in with that intro. You have to stick around to find out how it ends. And another one, give me Dateline or 2020. Either of those two every Friday night. Good way to spend the evening.
Well, is Mayor of Kingstown a crime show? Because there's a lot of crime in the show, right? There is the police side, right? It's kind of a unique side. So, man, I'm a huge fan of Mayor of Kingstown. I freaking love that show with Jeremy Renner. Lots of really good characters in it. So I would probably have to say that one. I haven't watched a Law and Order in quite some time. I used to be a big fan of Criminal Minds, and I watched it for years, and then finally it was just like, okay, I'm out. But I would say right now it's got to be Mayor of Kingstown.
Criminal Minds has been running forever, hasn't it?
Oh, wow.
18 seasons, 350 episodes.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. And it was, I liked it. It just got to a point where there wasn't a lot of major differences in it for me. So because I think it ended in 25.
Okay.
Right? I thought that's when it ended. Maybe 24. But I gave up on it before it completely ended. I'd liked it, but I just eventually like, okay. I think I've seen most of these.
Yeah.
I'm good. So no, it's actually no, there's Criminal Minds Evolution. I haven't watched any of those. So I guess it came back cons in their last season was like last year. They went from May to July. So but I haven't seen Criminal Minds Evolution. Anybody watch Criminal Minds Evolution? Is it any different? How did it evolve? What was the evolution? Let me know. So hey guys, did you say Binnington and Jari are close in salary? How long do we have them for? How long would Binnington be signed? Well, Binnington has a contract until the end of 27. Jari has a contract until the end of 28. So that's the difference, right? And it's Binnington is $6 million, Jari's 5.375. So what do you think you'd have to add if you're Edmonton to make that trade? Right? That's the question. Right? How much more, what sweetener do you think you'd have to add? Cons?
I don't. Do you have any prospects you'd be willing to part ways with? I don't think you want to part way with your top end, which is not as deep as a lot of other teams for the Edmonton Oilers. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know the Oilers. I know Bowman said that nothing's significant, but just because you say it, what if all of a sudden it changes and something comes on your plate? That's why you can never say never. So I'm just saying.
People saying darn Elmers.
Come on, people. Be smart. Be realistic. Right? What realistic sweetener would Edmonton have to add to make it work? I'm curious. And would you do it? Honestly, I don't see how you couldn't do it if you're Edmonton. How could you not do it? Is Jari more consistent than Binnington? No. Has Binnington showed he can play in the big games? Yes. So why wouldn't you at least pick up the phone? Hello, Jim? Well, not Jim. It's the wrong Rutherford. That wouldn't be a good start. Hey, sorry, wrong number. Click. But why wouldn't you call up the Blues and see what it would take? Right? I don't see how you could at least not consider Armstrong. I'm thinking Jeremy Rutherford and Jim Rutherford. That's where I got mixed up. But Armstrong, right? Why couldn't you call him? Say, hey, Doug, what are you thinking? Maybe they have. But if they're willing to part with Parayko, they're clearly ready to move on. It's not like they have a blessing of great young defensemen. So, I'm just curious. What do you think it would have to be? We'll ask Speck and more when we return. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to Connor Halley. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. March Madness is here. And guess what? They're not going to offer you a special prize. Not going to claim they're the best dealership. They're just going to give you a good old-fashioned deal. Stop in and check out the brand new Autoplex at NorthgateGM.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Couple trades this afternoon in the NHL. The Kings sending Warren Foegele to Ottawa for a second-round pick, while Michael Bunting going to Dallas. The Preds will get a third-round pick in return. And early today, Sharks acquiring Jet Wu from the Canucks for Jack Thompson, while the Panthers send Jeff Petrie to Minnesota for a conditional seventh-round pick. Tonight on the ice, getting going shortly, Rangers host the Leafs, the Mammoth taking on the Flyers. Got Sabres, Penguins, Jackets, Panthers, Bruins in Nashville. Jets host the Lightning, Sens taking on the Flames, and the Kings hosting the Islanders in the association. Raptors back in action, taking on the Timberwolves. Tip-off 6 o'clock. Elsewhere, Rockets host the Warriors. Nets taking on the Heat. Bulls in the desert taking on the Suns. And the Nuggets host the Lakers. PWHL, New York will host Boston just after 5 o'clock. And in the NFL, Buffalo Bills acquiring wideout DJ Moore and a fifth-round pick from the Chicago Bears for a second-round selection. In a diminished role with the Bears last year, Moore finished with 50 receptions, 682 yards, and 6 scores. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet, NFL writer Jacob Robinson, and hear Cam Tate's 2-minute warning, part 2 of his 10-part series, Steel and Spirit, sledge sessions with the head coach of the Canadian Para Hockey Team. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle,
Troll low down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
At GS Construction, every winter plan becomes a spring project. Every repaired line and every improved system is how we build the next chapter of Edmonton's infrastructure. And we can't do that without the best and the brightest in the field. That's why right now, GS Construction is looking to hire experienced top men, pipe layers, and operators who can step in and hit the ground running. With a people-first mentality, career growth, and comprehensive benefits, why would you want to work anywhere else? To apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
I hope you are happy.
Looking for the perfect
and
gift?
Instagram.
Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers.
Sports 1440,
Ready
Sports
anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team
Getting
members
close.
and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
From the locker room to your radio, Sports 1440 is Edmonton's sports leader. Real talk, big personalities, and your texts. It's interactive. It's fun. It's where Edmonton talks sports. Sports 1440.
The Price is Right Live is coming to Canada, and the Brick is a proud sponsor. Come on down to the Brick to win big this Saturday, March 7th from noon to 2. Join us at the Brick South Edmonton Common for your chance to instantly win from over $25,000 in prizes, including Brick shopping sprees, TVs, Oilers tickets, and so much more. No purchase necessary. Some conditions apply. See in-store for contest details and exclusions. So come on down to the Brick South Edmonton Common this Saturday.
Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Engineered for Canadian winters, built for real-life confidence. Tackle the ice and snow with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, delivering the power, control, stability, and grit you need. And when the temperature plummets, you'll cruise in comfort with heated seats and heated steering wheel. All this plus peace of mind with Subaru's top safety pick status for 19 years running. This winter, it's time to get you into a Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca today.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
.506 as we continue on Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. It's a lovely Thursday and the night before the trade deadline. There's some players that are sitting out, so some players to watch for that could be dealt. Vincent Trocheck, Sam Carrick are not playing tonight. Greer is resting for Florida. I got to see who are the other ones that I'm missing that are possible guys sitting out tonight. I haven't checked Nashville's lineup yet to see who the Preds might be resting. So we'll see. Same with the Flames. I haven't got 100% confirmation yet if Coleman or Kadri are going to take a seat tonight. We shall see. We shall see. The Oilers, no trades today. Their GM said they might be done. I'm still holding out hope. Like, God, we mentioned it earlier. Like, why wouldn't you Why wouldn't you go down the road on a Binnington Jari trade? See what happens. Now, maybe they did and they got a no for what the ask was. Who knows? But why not? Now, Jari, if you're St. Louis, you look and say, okay, it's Binnington, and he's got 1 year left on his deal at $6 million. Jari has 2 years after this on his 5.375. So maybe that doesn't interest him. So I could understand it, but you never know. You never know. Money talks, or shall they say, trade pieces talk. In this way, draft picks, they have some value for sure. Not as much as some people think, but they have value. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the games tonight. Check out all the NHL action. Jets and Tampa Bay. Interesting that if Tampa Bay loses tonight and the Sabres win, they're tied for first in the Atlantic and the Eastern Conference. Carolina comes into Edmonton. Well, they're actually in Edmonton now, but they'll play the Oilers tomorrow night. Hurricanes have yet to make a deal, so we'll talk about that and more. But let's get to the Spec Report now, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialists, and they are hiring. Lots of different jobs. You're looking for top men. They're looking for experience, also looking for people maybe just getting into the workforce, got a good work ethic, looking for a great career, not just a job. You can apply today at gsconstruction.ca. As Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, good afternoon. How you doing?
Doing great, man. What's going on? Busy day.
Yeah, busy day. We've seen some deals come down, and we're likely going to see some more. Maybe some bigger ones with some of the names that have been mentioned over the last few days. Do you believe Stan Bowman when he says they're done?
No, I think that I would say this to you, Jay. They don't have the money to add anyone that's going to be a premier player. Like they don't have, they're not finding a $5 million player. They can't afford that. Their roster of the guy, I think they got all the guys they need to play the games. If Stan Bowman went out and found a 1.2 AAV defenseman that would give him some depth that may or may not be in their top six, that wouldn't surprise me. You know how it is with playoff runs. Bowman gets hurt a lot. Always good to have another guy. So that's what I think we're looking at here. I think we're looking at a guy that in the first game of the playoffs probably wouldn't be in the lineup. They might pick that guy up, whatever position. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I still think I could see them adding a depth forward, to be honest, Spec. Right now they got Stastny as their number 7. You've got Stillman down in the minors, so I think if they had to fit in as their number 8, they'd be okay with. Josh Brown played a playoff game last year. I know it's not ideal, but you look and say if you get that deep into injuries, they'd probably consider other guys. And Regula, forgot him. So I look at their forward depth. And I just think because right now Curtis Lazar's out for a month, Janmark's done for the year, that I don't know if they want Doc and Szymanski as the 12th, 13th forward, right? They're young guys. They can go to the minors. They can play. And could they just add a veteran, center who maybe they're more comfortable being their 13th forward?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I feel like Szymanski particularly, he hasn't, he's only played a handful of NHL games. It'd be probably good for his development to send him down for a stretch run and playoff run in Bakersfield because he's never done that before. It's his first year over here. So, whereas I would say that, Colton Dawkes played the entire season in Chicago, right? He's played, I think, 53 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but on a way worse team, right?
No, but it's not that. What I'm saying is, Colton Dawkes had a great year. He's got in 53 NHL games. If you called him up and played him sparingly over the last month, he could still finish his season with 60 games. It's not a wasted year. Szymanski's missing out, I think, on a real opportunity down there more so. So to me, if you're keeping one, you're probably keeping Doc. But, I hear what you're saying. Bringing in a veteran guy that if he doesn't play, you don't care. Like if he's a guy that's, you're not wasting away an older player's career. If he's in the press box, big deal. Maybe that's what you do too, if you can afford it.
Yeah, I look at Szymanski, and he in a game where Curtis Lazar got injured, he still only played 8 minutes, and that's why I'm like, I don't like that. So that's where I would, as the GM, I'd be like, okay, if the coach isn't playing the young guy, I'm going to give him an older guy, and if he sits 8 minutes, I don't really care. So
I think you're right on that. And Stan Bowman said today, and one thing he said, it's pretty clear here, Szymanski's going to be an NHL player. Right, that's what we've learned this year. Remember, he went off quite a bit on the growth. Like, what a year for this kid! He comes over here for his first year of pro hockey. He really established himself in the AHL, which for a guy in his first year, that doesn't happen often. No. Then he goes, has this great Olympics, comes back, gets some NHL games in, and establishes that, hey, this guy's part of the NHL team's future. Like, I in his wildest dreams, I'm not sure this year was going to go any better than it's gone for Josh Szymanski.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. How deep would you look at a Binnington for Jari trade? Like, he righted the wrong of Mangiapane, right? And when I look at what Raw costs and what Dowd costs, and Dowd's 35, and there was no retention and 2 picks. Like, I don't think Edmonton, like Mangiapane to Chicago, is going to help them get to the floor next year. I don't think they really had to add more, because you already got Doc and you got Dickinson and you gave up a first. Well, Vegas Colorado had to give up a first and a 5th to get Raw, and there was no retention. So I'm not even sure you really had to give up extra for Mangiapane. But the Jari one hasn't worked. I know it's only 12 games, but it hasn't worked, Spec. And there's no signs of it looking like it's getting any better, per se. So how deep would you look at a Binnington for Jari trade if you're Bowman?
What's the 2 AVs?
Well, $6 million for Binnington, 5.375 for Jari.
Okay. Binnington's a pending UFA.
No, he's got 1 year after this. Jari's got 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, they're roughly the same. I mean, I guess Jari is younger. Everyone would agree Binnington's a more valuable commodity, right, on the market. Even though his numbers this year aren't great in the NHL, they're poor. The reason you're making that trade in Edmonton is because you think Binnington's a guy you'd rather have over Jari. So my point is this: it's Jari plus for Binnington. So what's the plus, right? How far into the plus are we willing to go here to make that trade happen? It intrigues the heck out of me, frankly. It really intrigues me. A big game goalie for a team that's planning on playing some big games here. And I quite like Connor Ingram's game. I think that he's a certified number 1 in Ingram is a pretty good tandem. So I don't mind that. I'd sniff up that tree for sure, man. I love that idea.
Yeah, like I think it's worth it, man. You got to, like, Connor McDavid's. He's played in 4 nations with Binnington. He's now went to the Olympics, got a silver medal with them. I think he would know, right? And I know that the players don't make all the decisions, but when you're asking around, hey, what do you think of this guy? I know Kevin Woodley's been on the show talking about, hey, with Binnington, like, there's certain things you got to be prepared with, and that's fine. But right now, Jari, it's like, Jari's awful the way he's played. Now, maybe he'll bounce back, but I think he had this first 2 starts were okay. Since coming back from an injury, I'm not sure he's had a really good start. So
he hasn't been great, and the orders have been. I mean, you talk to Woodley once a week.
Yeah. Oh no.
The environment in front of him has been the worst in the league.
Yeah.
So that's my only caveat here on any goalie. It's
fair.
The environment's been so bad here over the last 3 months since Jari walked in the door that it's probably still a little unfair. I'm not saying I don't like what you're talking about here, and I'm not saying that if it's a trade that makes sense, like I'd swap Jari out for Binnington tomorrow if that's what you're asking me to say. I would do that.
Well, I will say, Spec, though, Tristan Jari's games after the 20th of January, the environment's been terrible. Prior to that, it wasn't. In his first few starts with Edmonton, now granted, it wasn't many, right? But when he came back and he played against Nashville and Vancouver and New Jersey, and the environment wasn't bad. It started against Pittsburgh and it stayed that way, so I get it. But even in those other games prior, it's not like you were looking and saying, wow, Jari's, played great. He had the one shutout against Vancouver, didn't really get tested. That was great. And maybe he can play better, but I don't know, man. I think I'd have to consider it if I was him, because I agree. The defense has to improve either way. But my question is, even when the defense improves, do you have more faith in Jari or Binnington?
Oh, in the big game here in the playoffs? I mean, look at Binnington. Look at how he's played in all those big games we've watched, right? He was fantastic in 4 nations, and he was all excellent. What he let in 1 goal that we didn't like against France in a game they were winning by 5. Like, really, who cares? No, Bennington's been on task in major big tournament games here. You know, in a city where we said, and I think rightfully, that Bouchard proved himself in giant games in the last 2 Stanley Cup playoff runs, and he should have made that Olympic team because of those games. I'm telling you that Bennington proved himself in 4 Nations and Olympics, and his numbers in St. Louis, I'll throw out the door. Tell me what his numbers were at the Olympics and in at 4 Nations. Those performances are the ones that count for me.
Yeah, no, I think that is totally valid. The Murphy's going to start with Wallman. We got that from a Knobloch today. I did admit, though, that he's probably going to try other things. I still won't be shocked if at the end of the day, when the playoffs start, it's going to be Nurse with Murphy. I could be wrong, but that's just what my gut instinct is telling me. And Dickinson's going to start on a line spec, I would assume, with Frederick and Podkolzin.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay, I don't mind that. And then if Henrique's my 4th line center, I think I'm really happy with my centerman. Like this is, when's the last time Edmonton had the classic 3rd line center? I always go on about these guys that I always cover lots of cups, and every cup winning team had Sammy Paulson or John Madden or Guy Carbonneau or Craig McTavish or Manny Malhotra or, in Edmonton in 06, we had Mike Pekka. Like, have we had a classic 3C in Edmonton since Mike Pekka, do you think?
Oh, geez.
Throwing that out there.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. Kyle Brodziak later in his career has probably a 4 at that point.
Yeah, sure.
But he was a really good 3C for Minnesota, man, in St. Louis.
He was to many. Bukestad in his day has maybe been that guy. I'm not sure he was here.
Yeah.
To me, Dickinson is a guy that everyone's telling me he is that classic 3C. He's the guy. And I value that position on a playoff team immensely. I value it immensely. It's going to open up. It'll make it easier for the coach when he has to go with Draisaitl and McDavid on the same line if they fall behind. That makes it easier to do. It makes it easier to get better matchups because you can play Dickinson against anybody. You're not worried about getting caved in with somebody else. I think this will make the coach's job a lot easier for sure.
Jared Stoll spec, I would probably say, was a good third line.
Okay, yeah, Stoley.
Yeah.
You know what? That's fair. They were so.
Yeah, but he was only. I think Stoll was only here 1 year after Peck, and then he got traded for Zanovsky, right? So
they weren't very good. Like he never. I guess one of the things you got to show me is, it's when you have a team that plays important games. That's when you really.
Well, he was an unreal 3rd line center in LA, so I think he can do it.
Yeah. He goes to LA and they win important games, and they got an excellent 3rd line center. Winning draws and killing penalties and checking the best line, right? Like, that's a great example, Stoley. Yeah. He was a really good example of that.
Yeah. So, you're right. The Oilers really haven't had one, and they'll probably be like, oh, this is what a 3rd line set. I do think Dickinson's biggest addition is going to be the reduction of time for Draisaitl McDavid against elites. It's not like it's going to evaporate to nothing because they're on the ice too much. But like I said, even if he takes 4 to 5 minutes a game away from those guys against elite, that means 4 or 5 minutes, one of those 2 lines is going to be against the other team's 3rd or 4th line. And that's where the mismatch advantage will come into play.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally get you, man. And that's where the coach can work this thing. At home, when you get last change, you can really work it. And when you're on the road, there's a safety net there. It's like both Bowman and Knobloch said today, I got 3 centers I can throw over the boards. I don't care who the other guys send over the boards. I'm fine with McDavid, Draisaitl, or Dickinson. So, no, I think, listen, we can, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's been anyone that's hammered on Bowman and Jackson for their July 1st more than you and me on these shows that we do every day. Like, no one's letting them off the hook. They've been brutal. But you can sit and wallow on what happened and, they got Mangiapane and it was a mistake. Or you can say, you know what, that didn't work out. We're moving Mangiapane along. We need a 3rd line center. Found a really good one. We need a 2nd pairing right side defensive guy. Hey, found a pretty good one. Found a young guy in Colton Dock that's going to bang the boards a little. I can't wait to see him in Clattenburg on the same line one day. I think Bowman has, sure, July 1st sucked. This part of the season, he's had a pretty good trade deadline, don't you?
Yeah, I've liked his his trade deadline thus far. He filled two needs that needed to be filled.
Second now,
line,
the Jari trade, Jari trade's no good.
No,
and that's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
Yeah.
So, he's not perfect here, but he's performed here at the deadline. I think you got to say he has.
Yeah, well, I will say this. I told people were celebrating the Skinner trade, and I was like, be careful. I wasn't sold that Jari would be better. And Stu Skinner, for the few bad games he had a lot of good games too. So,
for sure, and absolutely. And I think we've learned here that until the team plays proper defensively, it's really hard to tell anything about anybody wearing the pads. So, unfortunately, there's no time here. Like you bring up Jari for Binnington, which I think is fascinating, but there's no time to say, well, let's see how Jari plays if the team settles down in front of him. This is like there's less than 24 hours to the deadline here, right?
Yeah.
So there's no time. If he's doing something, he better get after it.
Yeah. So we'll see, Spec. It is, we're under 20 hours. It's actually closing in on 19 and a half hours until the deadline. So should be pretty good.
Boy.
There you go.
All right. You're on the air for an extended period tomorrow?
We are, yeah. And we might chat with you. So be good.
Okay. You got my number.
There you go. That's Mark Speck with the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. Take a quick break. When we return, Jacob Robertson will join us. We got Cam Tate and more. It's a Gregor Show here on Sports 1440.
Choose for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate, visit CFI at customfloorsinc.ca.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
NHL Star Sticks are back at McDonald's, and we're celebrating by going bigger.
Make that smaller, way smaller than ever before.
Collect the set and get one of 7 mini sticks with every NHL Star Sticks meal. Featuring McDavid, Matthews, Quinn Hughes, Makar, Celebrini, Reinhart, and Montembeau. So get yours while they last. 1 stick per meal purchase. Limited time at participating Canadian restaurants.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg public unreserved heavy truck auction is next Thursday at 9 a.m. with tandem and single axle trucks, including a special dispersal of 3 unused 2024 Kenworth T880 tandem cab and chassis trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
Got that feeling? The one that makes you want to roll the windows down and just drive? A puddle! That's not just spring fever, that's a sign that it's time to visit Nisku Ford. They've got the cure for your driving fever with their biggest offers of the year. Get rebates as high as $12,000 on select new models, or drive away with 0% interest. Don't just dream about the open road, own it. Find your cure for spring fever at niskuford.ca. Above expectations.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. For a limited time, get your favorite large specialty pizza from Papa John's for only $19.99. Use code LSPEC at papajohns.ca or on the Papa John's app.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
527. Welcome back. And hey, if you're looking at the out-of-town scoreboard, if you like the playoff races, team that you root for, and probably for other fans, you're hey, maybe you don't care, but the Columbus Blue Jackets, a team that I root for the Blue Jackets. They've never really had much success, and I'd love to see them get in the playoffs. And Ivan Provorov gets them out to an early start, 1-0 over the Florida Panthers, as the Panthers are swooning down the standings right now in the Eastern Conference, as they are in the basement of the Atlantic, and only the New York Rangers are below them in the Eastern Conference. So it is injuries, obviously a huge factor with Barkov and Tkachuk, but I'll see how quickly they can recover. What are they going to do for goaltending next year? It'd be an interesting offseason for the Florida Panthers, who are resting Greer tonight. I think there's a good chance he could be dealt tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. And a game of two teams going nowhere has the Rangers and the Maple Leafs tied at 1. And hey, Ryan McLeod just scored. It's 1-0 for the Sabres over the Penguins, as the Sabres could, in theory, be tied for first place tonight if they win and Tampa Bay loses in Winnipeg. And the Sabres, hey, they didn't get the guy they want in Colton Parayko, but we'll see if they maybe take a swing at someone else before tomorrow's trade deadline. And lots of movement going on in the NHL. There's also some in the NFL. It's time to get to our NFL report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home with the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca. Jacob Robertson joins us from The Athletic as the author of the NFL newsletter. And Jacob, there's some interesting moves in the NFL. Of course, let's start with the Moore trade to the Bills, and they obviously needed to improve the receiving core. What do you make of this move?
Hey, Jason. Yeah, thanks for having me. I think to me it was an obvious need that the Bills had, which is opening up their vertical passing game. DJ Moore really thrived in Chicago and in Carolina, where, remember, he played with Joe Brady for 2 years in 2020 and 2021. Joe Brady now is the head coach. Seems like this is him putting his stamp on the team, bringing in a receiver that he worked with to open up the vertical passing game, something they've really been missing since Stephon Diggs left. They've tried to replace it with Amari Cooper. They tried to replace it with Josh Palmer last offseason. None of those worked, and the Bills do what they do best. They bring in an inconsistent number 2 receiver that they hope can be a number 1, and that's what they did with Moore. I'm not sold on him as a number 1 receiver, but I do see the thinking behind bringing in someone who especially was really good last season, opening up plays off script. When Caleb Williams was scrambling, Moore was getting open downfield. A quarterback like Josh Allen needs someone who can separate downfield, and that's what DJ Moore gives them, but the price was quite rich.
When you look at this Bills roster, I totally agree with you that the number 2 receivers, DJ Moore, Keon Coleman, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, Joshua Palmer, Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, the guys they've had there. Is there anyone else this offseason you think they should target, or do you think they roll in with this group of good receivers for Josh Allen?
I think it's going to be hard for them to bring in any other receiver. They're already pretty tight up against the cap. They have to re-sign one of their offensive linemen. It seems like they're going to let their center go in favor of a left guard. And so if you have that cap constraint, you're bringing in DJ Moore. It sounds like they're guaranteeing the next 2 years of his contract as well. He's one of the highest paid receivers in the league. It's going to be really tough to bring in anyone else besides DJ Moore. That being said, if you have Moore able to win deep, that could unlock a lot more Khalil Shakir. Dalton Kincaid, I think, should be able to work over across the middle a little bit more. So to me, like, this kind of solves their receiver problem. It's not the best solution, that you'd hope for. I was hoping someone like an AJ Brown could really be a strong X receiver that they would need as that number 1. But it sounds like the price was just a little too rich for Buffalo there.
Jacob Robinson of The Athletic joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, previewing NFL free agency. The legal tampering window gets going on Monday. So who do you expect to be the big spenders this year?
It's going to be exciting. I think free agency is always one of the best times of the year because we can see what teams are really going all in. And look at the Super Bowl last year, Connor. We had the Seahawks and the Patriots. Those were the two biggest spenders in free agency. The Seahawks ranked 4th, and I think the Patriots were number 1, like by far. These were such big spenders last year, and they didn't go all in, but we saw where their teams were looking to land, and they did in the Super Bowl. So I think that's really set the precedent where you can transform your team pretty quickly, even though there aren't the premium free agents that we've seen in prior years. The two teams that I'm really keeping a close eye on are the Titans and Raiders, both teams who have that sort of Patriots playbook from last seasons. They could have the Bengals, remember in 2021 when Joe Burrow was entering his second year, young quarterback, had some cap space. They built a good enough roster around him. And with an easier last place schedule, they were able to make huge leaps. We've seen that sort of consistently happen over the years. Raiders are going to have one of the easier schedules this season. It's always tough when you're in a division with the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos, but their schedule will be easier than it was last season. And same thing with the Titans. So these are two teams where you have the quarterback, at least you're going to think you have one with the Raiders. I believe in Cam Ward in Tennessee. So you have the quarterback. Can you build the pieces around him? These are two teams with with the most cap space. The Chargers have more technically, but they have some guys they need to re-sign. So I'm keeping an eye on the Raiders and the Titans this offseason.
Jacob Robinson joins us here on Sports 1440. The decision by Seattle to not franchise their star running back. What did you make of that decision? And what do you think happens to him, and where does he go?
Yeah, it was a big move, Jason, right? Like, this wasn't just the star running back. This was the Super Bowl MVP, yes. Kenneth Walker, right? Like, we saw him in the playoffs. He was incredible. He was one of the best players on the field, full stop. And so to me, it just speaks to the Seahawks' confidence that they can work with Zach Charbonnet, that they can sign someone else in free agency. Now, the draft class this year is quite thin at running back, so I do think we'll see teams lean on the free agent market. I also think it doesn't, rule out the possibility that Kenneth Walker signs an extension there. Like, it seems really unlikely that they wouldn't have had something done already. But when you have a Travis Etienne, you have a Rico Dowdle, you have some names, even Tyler Algier is an interesting name from Atlanta, who's been good. It just got supplanted by Bijan Robinson, one of the best players in the league. Like, there are bodies that you can fill in. And the franchise tag at running back this year was going to be about $14 million, whereas Kenneth Walker on the open market probably doesn't get that anyways. Now, he'll probably see a little more in guarantees in year 2. So he'll probably have like a fully guaranteed year 1, sort of like a Derrick Henry deal we saw when he left the Titans to go to Baltimore. But to me, it just speaks to the lack of faith teams have in running backs in the long term, largely due to those. I know you guys remember those deals that Todd Gurley signed Ezekiel Elliott a couple years back that were mostly guaranteed money, and they blew up in the team's faces. And since then, we've seen teams really hesitate to pay running backs because you don't want to be on the hook for a guy who might not be playable in 2 or 3 years.
What do you make of the Chiefs, and what do you think their approach is, what their needs and what they have? And do you think there's any guys that are free agents that are good fits for them based on, how they work free agency?
Yeah, look, I love the Chiefs' approach. What they did by trading McDuffie is just the latest example of what they've done before with L'Jarius Sneed, what they did with Tyreek Hill. They've developed these young players. They've gotten to the point where because of Chris Jones, because of Kelsey, because of Mahomes, you have these contracts that you can't really afford to keep all your young talent all the time. They don't just let them go in free agency for a comp pick like we've seen teams like the Packers and Bengals do. They trade them. They get a first-round pick. They get a third-round pick. They get all these draft assets that they can just keep the cycle going. And because they have a coach in Steve Spagnuolo, they develop their secondary players so well. They can really move things forward. We were talking about running backs a second ago. To me, the Chiefs need a run game. That's their biggest weakness this past season. If you can have at least that threat, you don't have the opposition playing a lot of the too high shells, that Vic Fangio style defense that we're talking about so often, that limits the deep passing game that Mahomes and the Chiefs have really tried in vain over the past few years to bring back. They drafted Xavier Worthy, and the whole talk from Mahomes and Andy Reid was more explosives. They haven't been able to generate that. And that's largely because they've had one of the worst rushing attacks in the league. And so if you can bring in a free agent running back like a Kenneth Walker, like a potentially Travis Etienne. Maybe, now they have draft capital. Maybe they move up and they try to get Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame, who a lot of people think is a mix of like Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, sort of the next great running back. There's a lot of good options for the Chiefs to solve their biggest weakness. And I think the rest of the league should be a little worried. I am, as a Bengals fan. I'm hoping that they don't get a good running back, but I'm not optimistic.
Jacob, every year we see it. Teams overpay for someone and then one and done. And we saw it most recently, I guess, with Stephon Diggs. Now, Patriots go to the Super Bowl, so you're happy with what you got from him. But I want to ask you, is there any player or players, maybe even a position where you think we're going to see teams overpay and that they're going to regret it soon?
Yeah, the name that comes to mind initially, Connor, is Mike Evans. He's a big name. He's had a fantastic career. He's been a really good player when he's healthy, but he's been in this league now. I think he's going on his 13th season. He's taken a lot of licks. Last year, he struggled to stay healthy. It was sort of the first year we've seen that he wasn't able to obviously hit that 1,000-yard mark that he had hit in so many consecutive seasons. But in the NFL, things start to go, it's very binary, right? You either got it, you're performing, or you don't. And the drop-off can be pretty quick. And a big name like Mike Evans, we have a pretty, underwhelming, I'd say, draft class at receiver. There aren't the big stud names that we've seen in recent years with the depth. There is still depth, but I don't think teams are as excited as they have been in years past about receiver classes. And then in the free agent market, it's sort of Alec Pierce, Mike Evans, and everybody else. You got Romeo Doubs, you got Wan'Dale Robinson, no names that are really getting teams excited. So when you feel that pressure that GMs have to bring in a big name, teams like the Titans, teams like the Raiders, who want to bring in these receivers to give their quarterbacks, young quarterbacks in particular, a good chance to succeed, Mike Evans becomes pretty tempting. That veteran leadership in a locker room can be appealing. We saw it last year with Cooper Kupp. The Seahawks won a Super Bowl. Did Cooper Kupp live up to his contract? Definitely not. Same with Stephon Diggs, right? There is a benefit to overpaying for these guys to a certain extent, especially if you have the cap room and only so many people you can sign. But I think someone like Mike Evans, it's going to be hard for him to live up to whatever deal he gets.
Jacob, great stuff. Give me your one or two free agents you're most intrigued to watch and where they'll go.
Well, number one is Tyler Linderbaum. It's not the sexiest guy to talk about as a center, but this is the year of the center, if there ever has been one. We saw what happened with Drew Dahlman in Chicago. First of all, just joining Chicago and really help transform that offensive line. It was a clear focus of Ben Johnson in year one, because you have these young quarterbacks who are trying to navigate so much that comes with being in the NFL, first of all, but also leading a team and calling the plays and understanding the protections and communicating all that. You bring in a veteran center, someone like Tyler Linderbaum, who's been a 3-time Pro Bowl in his first 4 seasons. This is a guy who can really help transform the roster and put that offensive line in steady ground. The Bears just lost Drew Dahlman. He retired. The only hint we had on that was that he went to Stanford and Andrew Luck went to Stanford. But besides that, it was completely out of the blue. You got him retiring. You have the Raiders, who desperately need a center, who are willing to pay. They've got a lot of cap space, as I said. Then you have the Chargers, who also could have cap space. They need a center probably as bad as anyone. Justin Herbert can't take more seasons like he just had, or else he'll be the next Andrew Luck. And then you got the Ravens, who really want to keep this guy in the building. They've said they've made him a market-setting offer. Creed Humphrey, this Chiefs center, holds the current market rate at $18 million. It seems like Tyler Linderbaum could go up to like 23, 24, 25 million. Like, that's pretty unprecedented for center market for someone to make such a big jump. So to me, he's, obviously a huge name to keep an eye on. And then you got to talk about the quarterbacks. Daniel Jones was transition tagged. He's probably going to stay with the Colts. Maybe someone makes him a competing offer that the Colts don't want to match. I doubt it. Malik Willis becomes arguably the number one free agent, at least the most interesting quarterback, because this is a guy, he's had 6 starts in his career. He's turning 27, or he is 27 now. He's had 6 starts in his career, and the first 3 were awful. The last 3 were arguably like the 3 of the best starts we've seen at quarterback, at least in the underlying stats. I looked back at EPA per drop back and all the metrics we like to look at to see whether or not the player's adding value to their team. And Malik Willis has been the best, not just like a top 10. He's been the best in terms of these EPA drop back stats. So this is a guy who could really come in and transform a team. The downside of that is in the risk is we've seen small sample sizes before from the Packers. Matt Flynn a few years back when he was signed, Seattle gave him a big contract. They drafted Russell Wilson. Wilson ended up beating out Flynn in training camp, and Flynn sort of never got his legs under him. So Malik Willis is super interesting to me because he could end up he has the skills, and he showed that he could be a franchise quarterback. He's still young enough where you're getting 10, 12 years from a quarterback. But he also has that risk of just a small sample size, and we don't know how it's going to go. So it could largely come down, like it usually does with quarterbacks, to the landing spot. If you get him on a team like the Cardinals, where you have a strong receiving core, you've got a decent offensive line, maybe a good offensive mind in Mike LaFleur, we could see some good things. You go to the Browns, I think we know how that might end up.
Well, we appreciate it, man. We're going to look forward to it. We got the NHL free agent. Well, I guess trade deadline, not free agency, but trade deadline tomorrow. And then boom, right into NFL. So lots of player movement coming up here in the next few weeks. Appreciate your time, Jacob.
Thanks for having me, guys.
That's Jacob Robinson joining us from the Athletic, and lots of interesting names out there. We'll return. Cam Tate will join us next. He's got his 10-part series you don't want to miss. It's coming up on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
5-time Junior Hockey League champions, the Spruce Grove Saints, are excited to be back on the ice at the brand new Thompson Family Arena. Be part of the action and enjoy some of the best junior hockey Canada has to offer by experiencing a Saints game for your next outing. Tickets range from $10 to $17 with free parking and some of the best food and drink specials in town. For more information on tickets and how you can become a partner, go to sgsaints.ca.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Measles outbreaks are occurring in Canada, including Alberta. These outbreaks are highly preventable. Measles is an extremely contagious disease that is spread easily through the air. The best way to protect yourself, your family, and your community is to ensure you are up to date with your immunizations. Don't get measles. Get immunized. Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Salvi Group is celebrating 50 years of building homes and communities, and we want to share the celebration with you. For a limited time during our 50/50 event, you'll enjoy 50% off select packages. That's special savings, select upgrades, and added value, all designed just for you. Build new or move in sooner at Hillshire. There's never been a better time to call Hillshire home. Celebrate with Salvi Group and enjoy 50 years, 50% off. Visit Hillshire today. Salvi Group, 50 years of craftsmanship, quality, and commitment.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Industrial Auctions are next Thursday and Friday at 9 a.m. These major events include multiple lanes selling a large section of multi-purpose trucks, equipment, and commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Can Torque. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Come back, wrap things up on a busy Thursday. If you missed it, of course, a few trades today, none involving the Edmonton Oilers, but a few trades are going down. You saw Michael Bunting going to the Dallas Stars for a third rounder. You had Jeff Petrie, former Oiler, going to Minnesota for a 7th rounder that could turn into a 5th if Minnesota wins 2 rounds and Petrie plays 50% of the games. The Avalanche acquired Nick Roy from the Maple Leafs for a 1st and a 5th rounder. And also Dowd, the center iceman, going from Washington to Vegas, and Vegas gives up a 2nd and a 3rd rounder. And Warren Fogle has been traded to Ottawa for a 2nd round pick. They also swap 3rd round picks in the 2026 draft. So those are the latest trades in the NHL. And now let's get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. No overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca.
This year's Canadian para hockey team has a new coach with an Alberta connection, Boris Rybalka, who coached the Camrose Kodiaks and has the highest coaching percentage of Canadian junior hockey history at 683. Rybalka, contacted in Milano, Italy, speaks with quiet reverence about what makes this team and this sport so extraordinary. Rybalka paints the essence of what truly distinguishes para hockey from its traditional counterpart. There are 2 main differences, he reflects, his voice carrying the wisdom of countless hours on ice. In para, you cannot skate backwards because you are bound to a sled. And in a dance of adaptation, you shoot with both your left and right hands. When strategy unfolds before him, Rybalka weaves a vivid tableau. Imagine 10 sleds carving through ice like swift arrows, each movement compressing space into precious moments. With all those sleds painting patterns across the rink, puck movement and puck support become the very heartbeat of the game, he explains with quiet intensity. Above all else, Rybalka's pride in this collection of souls burns bright and unwavering. This Team Canada stands as an extraordinary constellation of athletes and human beings, he declares, his voice thick with emotion. They are vessels of commitment, each one reaching toward excellence and golden dreams. Truly, Canada should feel the deep honor of having them carry our colors across distant ice. Their odyssey began last August when he became head coach. We went into this season knowing that the Paralympics were 6 months away, so we looked at it as a junior hockey season, he says. We prepared and had a yearly plan put in place, and an amazing coaching staff and support staff chosen, and our management team is top-notch world class. So we are prepared for anything. And when you are prepared, you are ready. And we are ready. Coming up Friday, previewing Canada's opening game against Slovakia Saturday afternoon. 2-minute warning, Gregor Halley Kruger, who we have to wish a very happy birthday. My birthday gift? I will not sing happy birthday to him every day. And me, Cam Tate, Sports 1440.
Cons, did you know it was Declan's birthday?
I did at about 3 o'clock today.
Really?
Popped up on Facebook, yeah.
Oh, jeez. Dex, like me, probably doesn't tell anybody about it either. So there you go. Well, happy birthday. How old are you today, Deck? 20 what? 8? 29?
29.
Oh, 29. I was close. 29. Oh, last year you're 20. So, geez, now you're going to start feeling the pressure. Think you're getting old. Oh, my God. It'll be, so we'll see.
I got 40 next year.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I'm going to be like, if Declan has any stress about 30, tell him to chill out. He's still young.
Dude, 30th birth, man. I was never a big numbers guy. It doesn't really matter to me. It's like age is just a number. It all depends how you feel, what shape you're in. Deck's in pretty good shape. So he still thinks he can do everything he did at 20, as you should. So that would be good. So coming up tomorrow, we will have our NHL trade deadline show. We'll keep you updated on all the activity that is going on around the National Hockey League. There are some guys being sat out for management purposes. The latest, the Winnipeg Jets have sat out Shen tonight. So he's not going to play. Also, Logan Stanley is getting the night off. So, you've got Trocheck and Carrick in New York. You have Greer in Florida. Haven't seen it yet about the Predators, but I got to guess you might see some guys in Nashville sitting out tonight. I'll have to check out Vingan and see if he hasn't, if he's tweeted out anything of note for guys who are sitting out, but nothing yet. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes from there, but definitely will be lots of movement tomorrow, lots of excitement. The Edmonton Oilers. Now, Stan Bowman said, he probably thinks this is their team, and he could be totally right. I wouldn't be shocked if they have a minor, like a depth decision made. At bare minimum, you'll see a paper transaction tomorrow for Szymanski. For sure, they're going to put him in the minors just so he's on the AHL roster, and then you can call him up after the trade deadline. Like, that's just a no-brainer. So he's eligible to go to the playoffs because, you know what, if he's not a regular in your 12-man roster when the playoffs start in Edmonton, why wouldn't you play him in the minors? You can always call him up. He's playing games. He's staying healthy, staying fresh. Well, not healthy, guarantee, but he's staying, in game shape. I'd rather play him down there. That to me is a pretty easy decision. So we'll see where it goes then. As for the Binnington thing, I did get a text saying Binnington unlikely to go to Canada other than Toronto. So we can put that one to bed. So someone said, hey, I saw your tweet, just FYI. I don't think he'd go to Edmonton. So there you go. Some guys, hey, that's why you have a no movement clause. You have the option on where you want to go. So we'll see. Cons, what's do you have a fun pick on who's going where tomorrow?
Oh, fun one. Fun one. How about Colton Parayko to not Buffalo, but the team that always brings players in, Vegas.
Really? Oh,
we're going fun and big. I would love to see him say, you know what? You guys want me out of here? I'll leave, but here's my team I'm going to.
Well, you wouldn't be the first guy to do it. So there you go. On behalf of Connor Halley, the birthday boy, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a wonderful Thursday evening, and we'll talk all things trades tomorrow with you. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by Ewell, your partner in power since 1975. For all your electrical gear, ewel.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
A couple of trades today in the NHL, with the deadline looming tomorrow at 1. The Kings sending Warren Fogle to Ottawa for a second-round pick, while Michael Bunting heading to Dallas. Preds receive a third-round pick in return. Earlier today, Sharks acquiring Jet Wu from Vancouver for Jack Thompson, while the Panthers and Jet featured